and interest. I personally believe that our long-term transportation plan should be anchored on a vision of an inclusive, resilient, and sustainable urban settlements. The time is now to develop an integrated multimodal transport system, pursue innovative and data-driven transport solutions, and improve transportation governance. Thus, among the bills and resolutions that have been referred to the committee so far, we have chosen to prioritize consideration of those measures that propose to give emergency powers to the President to address the transportation and traffic crisis. The bills and resolutions on granting emergency powers to the President have been primarily referred to the Committee on Public Services and secondarily referred to the Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes and the Committee on Finance. These bills include the following: Senate Bill number 11, introduced by Senator Drilon; Senate Bill number 154, introduced by Senator Ejercito; Senate Bill number 999, introduced by Senator Alan Cayetano; Senate Bill number 33, introduced by Senator Ralph Recto; proposed Senate Resolution number 59, introduced by Senator Recto. I'm sorry, let me go back. Proposed Senate Resolution number 33 by Senator Ralph Recto also. Proposed Senate Resolution number 63 by Senator J.V. Ejercito. We shall now commence our joint public hearing. Muli, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Naririto kayong lahat at maraming salamat sa inyong oras. In fact, the people in this room can be divided into two groups: those who came in early and those who were in traffic. But I must thank the ones, our resource persons who are here early and complete, and also our senators who made an effort to be here on time. If the latter is slowly becoming the acceptable national excuse, ang pambansang dahilan for tardiness, it is because in many cases, there is basis in invoking it. We don't need statistics to prove how traffic has gone from bad to worse in Mega Manila and other parts of the country. Cars move in glacial pace. If you're lucky to hit 30 kilometers per hour in EDSA, then you are lucky. The only hope for a fast mode of travel in the metropolis, the trains, have been derailed by old equipment or the lack of it, poor maintenance, and the culprit that slows train service, bureaucratic inertia. People, including children who should still be asleep, now wake up before dawn to catch an MRT train that can still accommodate passengers, only to realize that the time to queue for a ticket is now longer than the train ride itself. And they who rise before sunrise have to go through a harrowing commute just so they can be home by midnight. Nakikipagsiksikan sa bus, hinahabol ang taxi, kakandong sa UV, bibitin sa estribo ng jeep, kokontrata ng pedicab, o manghuhuli ng Grab or Uber na tila mailap pa sa Pokemon nila. The sad reality is that for many, the time spent for the rest is less than the time spent on the road. They also say that it is now faster to fly across the ocean than to drive across town. But not anymore, because there's also congestion in the air. Pati sa ere may traffic din. As anyone who had recently taken a flight out of NAIA would tell you, the time spent by a plane queuing for takeoff is sometimes longer than the actual flight itself. Simply put, our mandate is to create a system which transports our people and their products, the nation's commuters as well as its commerce, in a manner that is safe, reliable, accessible, and affordable. As you know, the services enumerated in our committee's mandate happens to be this government's priority, and the pressure for them to deliver is great. But the burden is not theirs alone, but ours too, because we serve the people who gifted us with the same mandate to serve. Thus, let me assure our friends in the executive that we will not be competing with you in finding problems. We will be cooperating with you in finding solutions. The President has supplied the framework on how to fix the traffic mess which in capsule form is that extraordinary problems require extraordinary powers to solve. The rule on such requests for great powers has always been the President proposes, Congress disposes. We will soon wade into the details of the bills and carefully study its provisions with no other motive but to improve it. We must be open to innovative solutions and be ready to think out of the box. But though we are open to innovation, we must also be responsible with our actions. Giving the President emergency powers necessarily raises concerns about concentration of powers in one person, as this could easily be abused. There are fears that if we grant emergency powers for this issue, then we open the floodgates to granting emergency powers for other so-called crises or emergencies. We must therefore post important questions on the extent of those powers. For instance, we must have clear-cut parameters as what constitutes an emergency. Second, we must be clear on what those emergency powers will be used for and whether they can effectively address the problems. It is important for us to define and quantify the objectives of the bills. Let me share with you the principles I will apply in evaluating your requests for emergency powers. First, it must be FOI compliant. This is a one non-negotiable principle, constant in its implementation. It must permeate and penetrate all activities, contracts, projects, biddings, documents, awards, payments made pursuant to the act of granting emergency powers. Letting the sunlight in construction results in better built infrastructure. Second, it must be fiscally responsible. The power to expedite projects is not a license to contract an expensive one. We may allow you to take shortcuts for as long as they do not shortchange the taxpayers. There must be no hidden costs or undeclared conditional debts that will be passed on to several generations. Third, it must have details and deadlines. We will not go for vague powers or blank checks. Hindi pwede ang bahala na kami. Everything must be well-defined. The parameters must be set. I assure you, there will be elbow room and wide latitude given, but not wide enough for thieves to sneak in. We will also insist on deadlines. It is not enough that you will tell us that you will build a tunnel. We will require you to tell us the exact date we will see the light at the end of it. I think the most important is that we will only give you a set of powers on the condition that you will first give us the bill of particulars. The powers must be in pursuit of clearly identified results. What are the exact deliverables, the cost of each, and when will it be finished? Specifically, the location of projects, the price tag of each, and the deadline of completion. We will also be inquiring on projects that may need no powers of the emergency kind to implement. Kapag may obstruction sa kalsada, hindi emergency powers ang kailangan, pero tow truck. Kapag may nakabarang illegal na terminal sa kanto, hindi emergency powers ang kailangan, kundi pulis. Kapag ang isang lugar ay madaling bahain, na nagbubuhol tuloy ang traffic, umaambon lang, hindi emergency powers ang kailangan. Ang kailangan ay mga taong maglilinis ng kanal at estero. So what we will request you is to tell us the things you plan to do and tell us which of them would require emergency powers. You and I agree that not all challenges entail the bestowal of special powers to solve them. Today, we have asked the Secretary of the Department of Transportation to give us an overview of the state of our land and the transport system. We have asked the pertinent agencies under the department to make a brief presentation, limiting it to their top 3 concerns and top 3 projects or plans of actions. We have asked the chair of the MMDA to do the same. This will give the members of our committees an idea of the lay of the land, so to speak. Initially, this meeting was supposed to be an organizational meeting and briefing for the Committee on Services, Public Services. However, we realized that the members of the other committees that we must tackle the proposal to grant emergency powers to the President to solve the transportation crisis. It would also benefit from this briefing. We all need to fully understand the problems before tackling the details of the proposed solutions. If the problems can be clearly and specifically identified, then hopefully the powers to be granted shall likewise be specific, clear, and time-bound. Before we begin with the presentations, and I would like to acknowledge the presence of our resource persons, and then also Senator JV, our Vice Chair, will also give a brief opening statement. Let me acknowledge our guests. First of all, Secretary Arthur Tugade, the Department of Transportation. Thank you, sir, for your presence. Yusek Romel Gavieta. Thank you. Yusek Gary de Guzman. Yusek Felipe Hudan. Yusek Raul Criencha. Yusek Noel Quintanar. Yusek Ann Lontok. Yusek Bobby Lim. Asek Lea Kiambao. Asek Cherry Santos, Chairman Martin Delgra III, ASEC Edgar Galvante, General Manager Ed Monreal, DG Tony Buendia Jr., Attorney Miguel Ora, Mr. Julius Corpus, Mr. Elmer Benitez, Mr. Joe Geronimo, ASEC Gerald Reyes, Attorney Emerson Carlos, Director Maria Josefina Faulan, Director Noemi Recio, Director Geoffrey Aguilan, and I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Drilon, Senator Aquino, and I think I acknowledged Senator De Lima earlier. So now, may we hear first Senator JV to give his brief opening statement.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank the Chair for acting swiftly on this very urgent measure. No? This is supposed to be an organizational meeting, but because of the urgency of the measure seeking to grant emergency powers to the President, filed by Senate President Pro Tempore Franklin Drilon, Senator Ralph Recto, and yours truly, our chair already acted on it swiftly. So I'd like to thank our chairperson, Senator Grispo, for having this hearing right away. Our traffic crisis is no laughing matter. Traffic congestion is not just happening during rush hours, but all throughout the day. It is an economic hemorrhage that needs serious attention and in dire need of immediate treatment. Our economy bleeds more than 2 billion a day and could swell up to 6 billion in 2030 if we will not find an effective cure for this malady. Kailangan natin ng mabilis at epektibong solusyon para maampatan ang pagdarugo ng ating ekonomiya at pahirap sa ating mamamayan na dulot ng matinding traffic. Apart from the economic hemorrhage, the traffic crisis also has a heavy social cost as the long commutes disrupt family life and social ties. The time we spend on roads is time lost with our families. The proposed special powers for the President is the first step in solving our traffic situation that is cancer approaching its terminal stage. To address this transport crisis, as principal author, my proposal is to give the President special powers for a period of 2 years to reform our transportation system. To execute the said reform, our President will have the option to use any of the alternative modes of procurement under our procurement rules. But, as what our chairperson has indicated, the FOI, or the transparency because of or the freedom of information, which was also stressed by the President through his executive order, is non-negotiable. Further, he will be empowered to acquire real property needed as right-of-way site or location for any government transportation infrastructure. I also propose that any programs implemented using the special power will be exempted from any court injunction, but as a safeguard to the given special power in a form of check and balance, the Supreme Court will be allowed to use an injunction. I hope my colleagues in this chamber, and likewise I'd like to thank this early all the resource persons who are here this morning, and I hope that my colleagues in the chamber will support my proposal so they can finally put an end to the transportation crisis. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator JV. I'd like to make a special acknowledgement actually for Senator Drilon for being here as the chair of the Committee on Constitutional Amendments. He will also give a brief opening statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And allow me to welcome our resource persons led by Secretary Tugade. You know, Madam Chair, in 2014, on my way to a relative's wedding in Baguio, I had to endure 11 and a half hours of traffic in the North Luzon tollway. It was a crisis not only because of the length of time I had to stay on the road, but also because I had a 9-kilometer toilet line, which everybody was using. Sadly, this is not just my story. This is the story of everyone today. The horrors of this traffic crisis spare no one. Nobody is immune from its choking grip. It steals from every Filipino time, regardless of position or state of life. It is time to turn this crisis around. I therefore filed Senate Bill number 11, the first bill filed on this transport emergency, and we filed Senate Bill 11, or the Transport Crisis Act, to give the President the necessary and proper powers to immediately address this national emergency. Under my proposed Transportation Crisis Act, the President is authorized to adopt alternative methods of procurement for the construction, repair, rehabilitation, improvement, and maintenance of the transportation projects. In all instances, however, the President must ensure that the most advantageous price for the government is obtained and that the procedure is undertaken in a transparent manner. The bill likewise prohibits the issuance of the temporary restraining orders and preliminary mandatory injunctions to fast-track the transportation infrastructure development. To address the traffic management woes brought about by overlapping functions of government institutions, the proposed measure designates the Metro Manila Development Authority as the sole urban traffic management authority in Metro Manila and the Department of Transportation in other urban areas. For this purpose, the President may abolish, create, and reorganize offices concerned. We may not realize it, but just to focus, for example, on EDSA, if you look at it, there are no less than 6 local government units along EDSA. You start with Caloocan, Quezon City, San Juan, Mandaluyong, Makati, Pasay City. So by any language, it is extremely difficult to manage the traffic flow in EDSA. And then you have the local government code, which gives each local government unit authority and power over traffic. And therefore, and you have a Metro and Metro Manila Commission composed of 17 mayors, each having his or her own turf. My good friend here, JV Ejercito, is laughing because he was part of that for a while. So, how can you have sintonado po tayo rito, 17 ang nasa orchestra, iba-iba ang tinutugtog, at kawawa naman yung MMDA, and we all blame the MMDA chair for this. Also, in DOTC, you have the LFDRB, ganun ba yun? Who would grant franchises without consulting MMDA. And yet, that's why you see buses running around with probably less than 10 passengers on EDSA. So all of this, in our proposed measure, we identify a single authority, and we identify a single authority being the MMDA. And at least for the period of emergency, the MMDA should be the sole authority insofar as the Metro Manila traffic is concerned, and particularly focusing on EDSA. It is no exaggeration when I say that everybody, every single person in this room and in our country is waiting for the government to do something about this traffic mess. So we are thankful that our colleague Senator Grace Poe has initiated this hearing very early, and we do hope to get some input, valuable input from our resource persons in order that we can present this on the floor of the Senate and see what we can do in order to address this transportation mess that we're in. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Drilon. Let us begin now with the presentation of the Department of Transportation by Secretary Tugade. Sir.
Senator, Madam Chair, magandang umaga ho sa lahat ng miyembro ng Committee on Public Service. Sa totoo lang ho, ayahan yung sabihin ko muna ang personal na pakiramdam ko ngayon. Sa totoo lang ho, not in my dreams, not in my wish, neither my ambition, that I will enter the halls of Senate. And neither in my wish or in my dream that I'll be in front of senators who, in my private interactions with them, professional and official, I have respected and learned to idolize. Having said this, ma'am, since I really would like to enjoy the feeling of being and stepping inside the Senate halls, if the chair would allow me, I would like to be able to stand up, go back there in front, so that it affords me the ease and the flexibility in saying what I would like to say, and hopefully to be able to address the needs and the expectations of the Committee on Public Service.
Absolutely, sir. By all means, whatever
kung
will
wala
be
hong
easier for
mikropono,
you
lalakasan
also.
ko na lang ang boses ko. Natukoy at nabanggit ho yung mga kadahilanan kung bakit dapat tayo magkaroon ng special power. Napakinggan ko at ninamnam ko yung sinabi ng ating chairman na kung saan linahad niya ang kanyang ekspektasyon, ang kanyang guidelines. Napakinggan ko yung sinabi ni Senator Ejercito at sinabi ni Senator Drilon na kung saan binigay nila ng kadahilanan kung bakit dapat magkaroon ng special power. 3 puntos ho ang sinabi ng ating chairman na dapat bigyan tibay at kilalanin upang ang pag-uusap sa special power ay bigyang katugunan. Sabi po ng ating chairman, dapat ho maging FOI compliant. Madam, I give you my word during my watch and I sit here and I discharge my duties as secretary. Whatever we do, not only in relation to the special power or emergency power, we shall be FOI compliant. Number 2 ho, sinabi ninyo na kailangan accountable at transparent. And we should not give the elbow room to the crooks and the thieves to sneak in the middle of the night and try to take advantage of the so-called special power. Madam, I stand on the spirit of accountability and transparency. It shall be so done. Number 3, you said, Madam, that we shall be time-bound. Timelines must be set. We will give you the timelines. We will give you the deadlines that will guide us in our pursuit of what we think is necessary for this country. And over and above that, as you have expected, we shall be open and transparent when it comes to cost. Having said that, the discussions today was predicated on a letter sent by the Honorable Chairman, whereby the Chairman has expressed 2 purposes wherein we are invited today. First reason is for me to give an overview of the transport and traffic industry. And number 2, requesting that all the attached agencies with regulatory function in the Department of Transportation be given 5 minutes to present 3 challenges and 3 priorities that is presently confronting each and every attached agency's challenges and expectations that will confront in its totality the entire Department of Transportation. We will exactly do that, Madam. And to start with it, let me present to you an overview. Kumbaga sa sine, this will give you a sneak thriller kung bakit kinakailangan at nangangailangan tayo ng special power. We will be as generic as possible because the letter indicated that our presentation today must be time-bound. And so I will be as generic as possible, observing the request for time-boundedness. Madam Chair, if you will allow me to present the overview of the traffic and transport industry. I think it is primordial and to the best interest of all to remember and focus to the organization at the very outset, because it is this organization that will address the requirements and needs and the rigors of special power. When I assumed office some 32 days ago, ang Department of Transportation ho sa itaas ay yung tinatawag ko kumbaga sa kanta Jambalaya. Ibig sabihin, ang accountability hindi malinaw, ang responsibility hindi nakalatag ng malinaw. Ibig sabihin, pag nakaroon ng problema sa transportasyon, pag nakaroon ng problema sa maritime, pag nakaroon ng problema sa riles, pag nakaroon ng problema sa kalsada, hindi agarang maituturo kung sino yung pamunuan na dapat kausapin, humingi ng paliwanagan o paluin. And so having said this, what I did, ma'am, is to make the organization sectoral at the Department of Transportation. Hindi ho bago ito. Kinopya ko lang yung organisasyon na kung saan nandoon ho yung isang kalihim na nagngangalan Ping de Jesus. Structural ho ang ginawa niya at sinundan ko. Doon sa Department of Tourism, I made it sectoral. May aviation. An undersecretary that is in charge of aviation, airports, and air operation. Kasama na ho at kalakip dito, yung tinatawag na attached agencies, yung CAAP, yung CAB, yung Manila International Airport Authority. Doon ho, pag nagka-aberya sa operasyon ng airport, operasyon doon sa air transportation, hindi na kayo magtatanong sino ang hahanapin. Hanapin niyo ho yung undersecretary na kung saan ang in charge ay si Babilim. Si Babilim, hayaan nyo yung sabihin ko ngayon, hindi ho siya bagito sa industriya ng airlines at airports. Siya ho ay ang pamunuan ng IATA noon. Galing sa private sector, sasabihin na natin for loose words, ma'am, nagpaaliw at nagpabola sa akin at nakuha ko. So, siya nangunguna ngayon dyan. Meron ho tayong tinatawag na land sector. Ang namumuno sa land sector ay isang undersecretary na kung saan siya ho, nung sa 6 na taon ay tinawag na naka-freezer. For what reason or another, I do not know. I did not bother to find out. But I did realize that when she was being frozen for a period of 6 years, she was studying in Harvard, she was studying at University of the Philippines, learning traffic management and urban transition and public administration. Nung nalaman ko ho at nakita, inaya ko siya. Meron kang kaalaman, pumunta ka sa akin, tulungan mo ako sa land. Anyway, nandito nga ka nga naman for the last 6 years. Oo nga't nandudong ka sa classroom, ngayon yung napag-aralan mo sa classroom, i-apply mo dito. Meron ho tayong organisasyon na tinatawag RAIL. Rail and Railroad. Kasama na ho dito yung TRB, yung tolls. Kinuha ko yung isang nagtatrabaho noon sa tinatawag na Ayala Group of Companies. Ang issue ho dito, bakit ako kumuha sa Ayala Group of Companies? Pwede naman din akong kumuha sa Pangilinan. Ang importante ho dito, kukuha ko ng taong may alam sa industriya na aking pinapasok pagkat hindi ko ho alam ito. Kailangan ho, gabayan ako ng taong may alam. Kaya kinuha ko yung sa aviation, sa land, sa rail. Kinuha ko yun. Kailangan ho ba pag-aralan ko from A to Z kung ano yung tinatawag na rails? Baka naman tapos na yung term. Hindi ko pa nalalaman kung ano nangyayari. Kaya dapat lang ho, kukuha ko nung may alam na. Ngayon, sa pananagutan, kasi issue ho ito, sa pananagutan ng conflict interest, wag ho kayong matakot, madam and members of the public service. Kasi USEC siya. Matakot kayo kung ako yung may conflict of interest. As secretary, ako ho yung magde-decide.
Madam Chair, with all due respect to Secretary Tugade, thank you very much for introducing your staff. Maybe we can go to the heart of the hearing
Yes, sir.
today. If we can cut short the introduction of your staff, we know they're all competent. I know Bobby Lim personally, but if we can go now to the substance of the hearing.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling my attention. I will follow, sir. The topic is the 32,000 employees of DOT, more or less. Bakit ho kailangan ito? Doon ho sa tinatawag na special or emergency power, doon sa 32,000 employees, sa aming hong repaso, 10,000 ho yung may JO, yung job order. 10,000 ho yung may contract of services. Ibig sabihin, ma'am, hindi ho regular. At ang average ho nito, lumalagpas ng 2 years. May polisiya ho ang ating gobyerno na kung saan sinabi, ENDO, no contractualization. Pinag-aaralan ho namin to. May epekto ho ito when we discharge our responsibilities because you need manpower and number of heads. Ito ho yung isang estado. Yung pangalawang estado na gusto kong sabihin ay doon sa land sector. Ano ho meron sa land sector? In the interest of time, you will see the area there na kung saan nakapalipot at nakapaikot yung tinatawag na radial at circumferential road. Liliwanagin ko lang ho. Bibigyan tugon at pansin ko yung sinabi ni Senator Drilon. Ang Department of Transportation ho, as of this hour, as of this moment in time, walang kinalaman sa tinatawag na traffic management. Ang may kinalaman no sa traffic management, yung silbato ng pulis sa traffic ay ang MMDA at ang LGU. The reason why I said this is, ito ho yung tinatahak ng mga sasakyan, yung mga nabanggit ni Madam Chair kanina, na yung mga iba't ibang uri ng mga sasakyan dito. May tren, late. May aeroplano, late. May Uber, naipit sa traffic. Nakapastel ho doon, in the interest of time, I will not go in detail as to the mode of transportation. Dito ho, makikita nyo, ito na yung sinasabi, yung traffic. In fact, nabansagan ng Republika ng Pilipinas ang Metro Manila, the worst traffic on earth. Ito ho, realidad. Tama kayo, hindi na natin dapat pag-usapan yan. Ipaparepaso natin yan, ilagay lang natin sa ating isipan. Nasabi ng ating chairman, nasabi ni Senator Drilon na may experience siya na 11 hours papunta sa Tagaytay, sa Baguio. Merong experience din si Senator Ejercito. Ako rin ho, na-experience ko nung ako'y nagtatrabaho sa Clark, na kung saan umuwi ko araw-araw sa Ayala, Alabang. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Na-traffic ko ako 8 hours, ma'am. Pauwi pa lang at night dahil ho dun sa palengke. So I share in your woes and miseries. And every one of us, as rightfully said, every one of us has experienced this woe and misery. Ano ho yung epekto nito sa ekonomiya? Meron hong JICA study noong 2014 na kung saan sinasabi, ang nawawala sa atin araw-araw at 2.4 billion pesos a day. Pag tinignan mo at 2016 timeframe, nandoon na ho yan sa 3 billion. On top of that, cut that with medical expenses, which according to the study by the World Bank, is amounting to $400 million yung bang health expenses related to pollution and to traffic. Ayun ho yung gastusin. Ma'am, kung hindi ho ito krisis, ano yung krisis? Makikita nyo ho dyan yung travel time. Importante ho yung dato na to. I will not go into the details. But let it be said that this study done by JICA shows that in Metro Manila, okay, ang average kwan mo is 95.1 minutes. Almost 2 hours, ma'am. Isambot mo dyan yung EDSA. Yung present number namin ngayon na dapat i-validate. Para mag-travel ka sa EDSA from Rojas Boulevard, papunta sa Balintawak Market, the average, ma'am, is 1 hour and a half. A little bit more. Okay? Ito ho, pag private cars. Pag bus ho, gawin mong 2 hours and a half yan. Ayan ho, yung tinutukoy at linalakbayan natin itong mga kapanahunan na to. Another data which I would like to call your attention to, ito na yung nabanggit ko, the aviation sector. Tama ho, hindi lang traffic sa lupa, may traffic din ho sa itaas. Yung traffic sa itaas sa aviation sector constitute 3 phases. Number 1 is when you enter the airport. Ibig sabihin, yung traffic papunta sa airport, sa bukana ng airport, na kung saan ang ating mga pasahero, kagaya natin. Mahilig tayong may kasamang barkada, baranggayan, at mahilig tayong mag-travel na tinatawag na we travel heavy. Nakakaroon ng traffic yan. Pag pumasok ka at nag-check-in, pumunta ka sa immigration, may traffic ko yan. Bago ka sumakay, may traffic. Nakasakay ka na, bago ka umalis, may traffic. Okay? Lahat ho, dyan ho, mapakikita nyo kung ano yung mga airports na meron tayo. Makikita nyo rin dyan na kung saan meron tayo mga airport na night rated. Ano ho yung ibig sabihin nun? Airport na pwedeng mag-operate maski na gabi on 24 hours. Importante ho na malaman ito because if you want to decongest NAIA, you have to give the capabilities to our airports in the provinces to be able to fly even in the middle of the night so that you expand the uses of NAIA. Makikita nyo ho sa isang slide kung saan mayroong mga airport na night rated, kung saan dito sa kapanahonang ito, gagawin namin mga airport night rated. Importante ho itong impormasyon na ito. At this point, papaalalanan ko lang ho, yung mga detalye, kung anong gagawin para addressin itong mga issues na ito, as requested in the letter, addressin ho ng mga individual attached agencies and the attached sector. I am just saying the generic environment at this time.
Madam Chair,
Binay.
pwede for clarification lang ho, can the Secretary explain what is an international airport, what is a principal class 1 airport, and kung ano ho yung principal class 2 airport, pati ho yung community airport.
Opo.
I mean, kung ano yung diferensya nila sa isa't isa.
Nandoon ho, kung titignan po natin, ma'am, yung 11 international airport, ito ho, 4 dito, nandito sa Manila, sa Luzon. NAIA, Lawag, Clark, Subic. Ito ho, tandaan nyo yung Subic hindi gumagalaw. Yung principal class 1, ito ho yung mga aircraft na jet aircrafts of at least 100 seats.
For ano mga airport?
Meron ho mga airport dyan. Can you flash on the screen? Hindi daw ho nila makuha. Sasabihin ko na lang ho. Saan dito? Class 1 will be Butuan, Lagindingan, Bacolod, Cotabato, Tacloban, Dipolog, Dumaguete, Legazpi, Naga, Pagadian, Rojas, San Jose, Tacbilaran, Tuguegarao. We will be copy furnishing with the approval of the chairman will be copy furnishing all the members of the committee with hard copies of this so that you will be guided on your for your appreciation of the data sheet.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Salamat mo, ma'am.
Go ahead, Secretary.
bibigyan din ho namin kayo ng cluster ng mga airport na i-develop this year hanggang next year. I-improve yun. Kasama ho dyan yung ibibid pa ho ito sa PPP. Kasama dyan yung Davao, yung Bohol, yung Lagindingan, Iloilo, and Bacolod. Isasama ho natin in the second year yung mga ibang airport na kagaya ng Bukidnon. You know, meron na hong budget yan. Bibigyan ho namin kayo ng complete list para malalaman nyo sapat na ba yung air positioning natin o hindi. Ibibigay po namin yan. And so, the basic problems here as aptly explained during the introductory remarks of Senator Chairman, Madam Chair, and Vice Chairman Ejercito. Ang problema ho, delayed flights, overcrowded airport terminals. Let me say at this point, let me translate the meaning of delayed flight. Of course, these numbers will have to be validated. Bagong dating po kami, 32 days pa lang. Average take-off delay is 30 minutes. Ibig sabihin, out Manila, 30 minutes. We will have to study that yet. Ang maganda ho, yung papasok sa Maynila. Kasama na ho yung hindi kayo makalipad sa pinanggalingan nyo kasi sasabihin nila may problema sa Maynila Terminal. Kasama rin ho yung tinatawag na encircling kasi may nangyari. Ma'am, 2 hours. Yes, sir. Grabe ho. Talagang grabe ho. Mamaya ho, papakita namin kung paano sa aming munting mundo aadresin namin yung mga delays na yan. Kasama ho yung encircling na minsan, sasabihin sa aeroplano, we cannot yet land, mga ganyan-ganyan. Pero in reality, either may problema sa terminal o walang slot. Yung landing slot. Yung delay naman ho, naka-slot ka na, hindi ka naman lumilipad, so lahat na de-delay. So may mga estado dyan na dapat yung hindi lumipad, mulit sa huli para makalipad yung mga tipo hong ganyan. A-addressan ito by way, yung mga congestion, by way of process, by way of procedure, by way of infrastructure, by way of equipments na kung saan rin-require ng mga international organizations na dapat matagal nang nandiyan sa airport. Flash on the screen are just showing you the kind of overcrowding we have. Just to make sure that the pictures we present is not in any way bested or tainted with interest, kinuha ho namin yung mga picture na lumalabas sa dyaryo. So, nandiyan ho, pinapakita namin. At tignan nyo ho yung sample ng mga kubeta. Ito ho yung mga estado natin ngayon sa mga paliparan. Hindi ko pa ho linalagay dyan yung mga kubeta sa mga seaports, yung mga kubeta sa rails. Kung ilalagay ko dyan, ito baka mas okay ito, ma'am. The rail sector, ito ho, anyway, i-explain ho yan mamaya para wala nang repeat. Papakita ho sa inyo yung speed, yung trend, yung coaches, yung speed, yung headway, lahat ho ipapakita yan. May delay ho, but I call your attention to one thing. On the right column, these are the incidents of unloading for 2015. Makikita nyo kung gaano ang highest pointer, yung MRT 3. 35 incidents of unloading. There are 12 months in a year. In other words, for every month, 3 unloading. Mamaya ho, i-explain din ho namin sa inyo yan. I call your attention to the other column, to the left. Tignan nyo ho yung utilization. Wala ho dyan more than 85% utilization of existing capacity. So that the problem na walang masakyan, yung mabagal ang headway, nandiyan ho. Mamaya ho, susolusyonan ho natin yan. And again, the long lines of queuing, umaabot ka sa kalsada, nababasa yung mga tao, umuulan. Ngayon pa lang, sasabihin ko na ibang solusyon ho dito, yung common sense na lang eh. Kaya ho, ma'am, humahaba yung pila dyan kasi isa yung lugar na pinagbibilihan mo ng ticket. Kami ho, nakipag-usap na sa mga mall, sa mga establishmento. Meron na hong 75 na pumayag na kung saan magbebenta muna ng ticket, mano-mano lang ho muna. At least, hindi na magkakarambola sa isang lugar. So, lahat ho yan ina-address. You can see the jump pack trains again. This is not our pictures. These are the pictures of media para we will not be accused of calibrating feeling or may bested yung retrato. Galing mo sa media to. Unsafe conditions, totoo ho yan. Pag nag-breakdown, minsan bumababa na lang sila sa rails. Malungkot. Nakita ko ho mismo yan one time nung nagbabaan sa rails. We will also give you some solutions there, ma'am. Solutions that can range from 100 days, more than 100 days but less than 2 years, and a longer period. Okay, this is the generic presentation of the transportation sector. Hindi ho namin sinama dyan yung C. Kasi ma'am, wala ho dun sa sulat. Kaya sabi ko, yung C nandito rin, kung kinakailangan, ipipresenta namin. Pero sa sulat lang ho, is road, rail, and airport. Hindi ko ho kinakaligtaan yung C. Sinusundan ko lang po yung sulat. Having said this, ma'am, and having presented the general overview, with the approval of the chair, may I now yield the floor to the sector undersecretary to make a detailed presentation of what the generic outline seek to say.
Madam Chair,
Senator Drilon.
before we recognize the undersecretaries or the one basically in charge of each sector, we appreciate the presentation of Secretary Tugade. And what we note, and this is really good because you have pointed out to the Senate what are the issues that can be addressed through executive action. Yung kayo lang po, o yung with innovation, etc. I would like to hear from our resource persons before he passes it on to his staff. What are the policy issues that we must address in this Emergency Powers Act in order to assist your department in hastening the executive solutions that you have proposed? Because we are here trying to craft an Emergency Powers Act. We do appreciate that you have presented to us what are the problems and the proposed solutions per sector. But that, again, may involve executive action, which really would not go into the crafting of the emergency powers that we all find necessary. In fact, I authored the first one. So this is, with your permission, Madam Chair, I would like to raise this procedural issue to the Secretary.
Okay, sir. Let me address that now.
Okay.
Actually, there are details in each sectoral presentation that will touch on the emergency power. I agree, sir, that many, if not most, of what I have said are calling for executive action. Okay? Again, by way of generic presentation, yung mga details so sasabihin nila mamaya. Una ho, kailangan natin ng synchronized traffic system. Alalahanin nyo ho na yung traffic management dito, kaya sinabi ko kanina, ay tangan po ng MMDA yung mga circumferential at radial road, ay tangan po ng local government. Kung nakakapansin ho kayo ng konting kaluwagan ngayon sa mga radial at circumferential road kagaya ng EDSA, tutumbok at masasaktan kayo pag lumiko sa kaliwa o lumiko sa kanan pagkat wala nang say po ang MMDA doon. Ang may say ho doon is local government. What do we need is a synchronized, uniform traffic system, traffic structure, traffic rules with one single traffic authority.
In other words, Madam Chair, the Secretary would want to see in the proposed Transportation Crisis Act a single authority to manage the traffic system in Metro Manila.
Tama po, sir.
Now, so that is the kind of policy issues that we would like to hear from the Secretary, because as we all know, as I said in my opening statement, one of the things that I found is the numerous authorities trying to govern our
Tama po
traffic
kayo dun,
system, and it has created a mess. So the first issue that you would want the Senate to address, or the Congress to address, is to provide for a single authority to manage the traffic, at least for the period of emergency. Is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
2 years, sir.
Well, we can even say 3 years, Madam Chair, because under the Constitution, the emergency powers can last for the duration of Congress, of this Congress. So it can even be for 3 years, and we're willing to grant this. This is the limit. Now, so any other, I would like to hear from the Secretary issues like what you just mentioned.
Yes,
a
sir.
single traffic management authority.
Pangalawa ho,
Opo.
yung samot-sari na licensing na nandito ngayon. May licensing authority po ang DOT through LTO saka LTFRB sa prangkisa. Meron hong authority rin ang MMDA. Yung mga tricycle at mga ano ba yun? Yung mga tricycle, kung ho yun, barangay level yun, you know? So
Yes.
LTO,
LGUs.
yung mga LGU. So, sir, kailangan kumpasan ng maayos yun eh.
I agree. These are the so yes. So the second policy issue is the multi-authority. I mean, the numerous authorities managing the same situation. And I
Kung
agree.
meron na hong authority, pumunta tayo sa lupa. Yung mga lupang dinadaanan. Traffic ho lahat yan, pag circumferential at radial, national government. Pag local roads, local government. Pag hindi nag-cooperate yung local, tapos yung radial. Pag nasolve mo yung radial at may basketball tournament ka sa isang barangay road, tapos ang ngala-ngala. So, kailangan ho, yung usage ng road, ng passage, kailangan din iisa ang kumukumpas.
So are you saying, Mr. Secretary, that at least for the period of emergency, we should suspend the powers of the local government units insofar as management of the traffic is concerned, at least in Metro Manila and in urban areas where there is a crisis, so that there is only one single authority? Is that what you're saying?
Parang ganun na ho, sir.
Yeah. No, huwag ka matakot. Sabihin
Yes, sir.
mo kung anong kailangan natin. These
Yes,
are
sir.
the kind of policy issues that we would want to address. Now, what about procurement?
Punta ho muna tayo sa kalsada, sir.
Sige.
Kasi
Okay.
sa kalsada, sabi nila, sobra-sobra na yung sasakyan. Para addressin mo yung sobra-sobra sasakyan, either bawasan mo yung sasakyan, magpatayo ka ng kalsada, o gumamit ka ng kalsada ng iba. Ito ho yung mga privately owned. Yung privately owned, kagaya ng subdivision A, subdivision B. Ayaw kong sabihin yung pangalan. Di ba? Yung mga ganyan, makikiran ho. Hindi naman makikiran tayo habang buhay or for the entire 24 hours.
Presently, who authorizes the entry or the use of subdivision roads for traffic?
Yung subdivision owner ho, yung association,
okay, subdivision owner na.
homeowners po.
Okay, so again, that's an area where you want to...
Ngayon ho, nakikiusap naman ako sa iba. Yung iba okay, yung iba may mga kondisyones. But let it be said right here and now that our choices for private roads will not be arbitrary or whimsical. Number two, that we will not compromise the safety of the subdivision. The security mechanism shall be in place, and if need be, the security expense will be borne by government. The road maintenance, hindi naman tayo pwedeng dumaan lang ng dumaan dyan, sir. May gastos yung road maintenance. Hindi ko naman hingin kagad dyan. pwede hong pag-usapan yon. Ang higit sa lahat, yung gamit ho hindi 24 hours. I-define natin yung peak moment in time na kung saan dadaan.
So who would have that authority now?
Wala ko, sir.
No. Now in the proposed emergency powers, you want to locate that authority somewhere. Who would want that
Doon ho
authority?
sa basta isang departamento.
Ha?
Pwedeng MMDA, pwedeng...
No, you must be specific, because as you said, a single
Saan
traffic
no, sir, sa
authority.
DOT.
Ha?
DOT daw, sir. DOT, sir.
DOT.
Yes,
You
sir.
would want to locate that authority with the DOT.
Sana ho, para kukumpas.
No, I'm aware. That's,
Sa
that's
traffic
why,
lang ho,
that's why you're a resource person
hindi
here.
yung buong pangkalahatan ng
There's
MMDA.
actually there are people suggesting that perhaps, Secretary, you should really be the one in charge of the traffic.
Why
So
don't? Why
it's
doesn't the
the
secretary
DOT,
become
because-
the Madam Chair? Pursuing that point, why doesn't the secretary become the MMDA chairman?
I mean, both. I mean, let's not
Both, yeah,
demote
in a
the
concurrent capacity.
secretary
In a
But-
concurrent capacity, so you would have full control
of the emergency powers.
Yeah,
Sa traffic ho,
Ha?
sa traffic. Wag na yung 17 mayors. Sabi mo kanina, yung 17 mayors.
Oh, ganun talaga ang sitwasyon natin. Ano magagawa natin?
But that's also one of the conditions that we would want to have one point person who's really in charge
That's correct.
in
That-
implementing the emergency powers.
That is why
Madam Chair.
the Transportation Secretary can concurrently be the MMDA chairman. Now, anyway, that's a policy issue again that we would like to
Madam
examine.
Chair.
Hindi naman
When-
tayo nagde-decide na dito.
Hindi pa po. No,
Pero we're note-taking already.
any other issue which you would want to have addressed in the transportation?
Yes, sir. Terminal.
Oh.
Madahilihong sabihin, ma'am, ang solusyon, tow truck at police. Para lang sa kaalaman ng Committee on Public Service, ang total terminal ho sa EDSA, sa EDSA lang, ilan ma'am? Ha? 27 terminals. Ha? And then, EDSA Pasay is 14.
We can say in the Emergency Power Act, effective X number of months, there will be no more terminals in
dapat ho.
EDSA. So that wala na kailangan mag-decide pa ang...
Dalawang bagay ang
Oh.
dapat tugunan ho. Una, dapat may just compensation. Hindi naman tayo confiscatory.
Hindi nga. No, no.
Pangalawa ho,
Oh.
maglalagay ka ng remedyo na kung saan bibigyan mo sila ng alternatibong magkaroon ng tinatawag na common stations, yung mga sasakyan. Kasi kung wala ko mga terminal yan, magkakaletse-letse lalo yan. Kaya dapat paplanuhan din yung common station
Yeah, okay.
sa north saka sa south.
All right. What about on the procurement?
On the procurement, alam ho natin yan at naratnang ko yan, na kung saan magkakaroon ka ng bibili ng mga bagay-bagay, tinatawag ho ma'am, bidding.
So,
Bidding, sir.
bidding.
Yung procurement. Yung procurement, limited ka sa 500,000 yung bidding sa mataas na amount. Pumunta ho tayo sa mataas na amount. Doon sa mataas na amount, dito ho, pag bidding, pag may nanalo, may natalo. Yung nanalo, magpapalakpak yun. Sandali lang yun. Kakasuhan nung natalo yun.
O kaya nga, dapat walang TRO.
Dapat ho, walang TRO,
Oh, yan,
TRO
yan.
dyan. Ganon din ho yung procurement, yung bidding. Yung issue ng right of way, you know, naku, sasabihin ho natin, luwagan ang riles. 3,000 lang nandiyan sa right of way. Paano ho natin maiibsan at paano ho natin masusolusyonan yon? Kailangan natin tulong-tulong.
Sure.
So there will have to be issues, sir, on injunction, on procurement, on bidding, on right of way.
And resettlement, Madam
And
Chairman.
settlement.
I would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Dick Gordon as well as Senators Angara.
Thank you very much.
And,
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. That's all that I have for the Chair. Thank you very much.
Senator Vilon, and also our Majority Leader, Tito Soto, and Senator Alan Cayetano.
Madam Chair.
I think Senator Gordon was going to...
Well, I just wanted to interject a point on that we must give that the tendency is to give absolute powers to one agency. I think the good secretary is interested in improving the flow of traffic so that business and the passengers and the riding public as well as the pedestrians can have safe, speedy, adequate transportation so that nobody will be impeded. But I
there would be issues on local government, the local government code, which we would have to address here. I'm sure all the senators are aware of that. So before we go in all fours and say we will give you all the rights, we will have to really find out from you what other concerns are there where you might get into a legal locking of horns with other agencies, for an example.
Yung locking and interlocking of horns, manggagaling sa LGU, sa private owners ng mga property, manggagaling sa MMDA. Ang kaya ho natin dun sa government agencies is you integrate and you merge certain responsibilities and functions under one head. Ang kailangan ho natin dun sa pribado is magkaroon tayo ng formula na kung saan hindi tayo magiging whimsical or arbitrary dun sa paggamit ng mga property nila. Hindi naman ho yata ugma yun. Ito ho, parang yung sinabi nyo kanina, ma'am.
As a follow-up, the issue of resettlement, particularly on the train side, you have thousands of people on the trains, and every day, almost every day, there are accidents involved. What would be the position of your agency insofar as lifting these people, practically creating social engineering and bringing these people to another area? You would have a problem of resettlement, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir.
And is that something that you
Secretary,
are...
before you answer the question, perhaps I can request the senators. Secretary, go ahead and answer the question of Senator Gordon. But in your succeeding presentations, if you can include already your detailed problems and also your policy solutions,
Apo.
so that at least we can all ask our questions after the presentations have been made. So go ahead, please, for
The chairperson is really correct, because I was expecting an overview before we get into the nitty-gritty. We want the essence of the problem before we go into the essay, which is what to do and how to do it. And that is why I think the chair is correct when she says, give us an overview. What are the legal issues, the legal challenges, what are the physical problems, the resettlement issues, and then the Senate would well be within its mind to be able to help and assist the writing public into making sure that the problems will be addressed properly. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Sabi po ng ating Pangulo sa kanyang SONA, no demolition without relocation. Nasabi ho ng Pangulo ito, kaya bigyan katuparan ito. Pagbibigyan ho natin ng katuparan ito, susundan ho natin yung konsepto na sinabi ni Senator Gordon na along the lines of social engineering. Along the lines of social engineering. So, nandyan ho, pag libo-libo na yung ililipat mo, kailangan i-define mo yung saan lilipat. Anong potensyal o actual na hanap buhay na nandoon? May laban ba yan o ano? Ito ho, titignan dyan. May katagalan ng konti yan. Pero mababawasan yung konting katagalan kung merong special power without going into the lines of arbitrariness and undue courses of action.
Madam Chair, I just want to, on that note, I'd like to propose, move that in the next hearing regarding this, that we invite also officials from the housing sector, because this will have a housing component.
I think it will all unravel later on the other agencies that we
Madam
need
Chair.
to call. In fact, also the local government mayors, we need to
Finance
have them
also,
come in.
Madam Chair, not a
Senator
question,
Cayetano.
just a manifestation. Magandang umaga po to our colleagues, Secretary, and to the DOTC family. Just as a manifestation, first of all, Madam Chair, thank you for including Senate Bill 999, although I just filed it last Monday. But let me assure our colleagues, especially Senator Drilon, the issues that he brought up, kung may single authority, kung yung policy, bidding, kasama to lahat dun sa version na final ko na SB 999. In fact, with the permission of our colleagues, we went beyond traffic on land, but we included air and ports as the version of Senator Ejercito also mentions, no? But third, we included the issue of decongestion, because the traffic hearing Secretary Tugade, not only today, his pronouncement since he was appointed, he has a good idea of what to do in the first 100 days, in the first year, in the first 3 years. But long term, unless ma-decongest mo at lahat ng region sa ating bansa ay magkakaroon ng development, this problem will just keep cropping up. That's why we included decongestion. So sa version po na final natin, yung traffic czar is the DOT secretary. Not necessarily Secretary Tugade, but whoever is the DOTC secretary. No? Last point, Madam Chair, no? And I hope this was a campaign promise of the President and myself, and I know how much Secretary Tugade loves the Clark area, the Clark-Subic area, and Senator Gordon is here, no, who's taken care of that his whole life. If DOTC can move immediately to Clark, then you will be leading by example, no, because this is one way to decongest. But let me stop at this point and just to, may I ask, is there a response?
Madam Chair, 2 points. Number one, dun sa transferring DOTC. In fact, since 3 weeks ago, yung sinasabi nating decongestion, kailangan yung mga ibang opisina ng gobyerno lumipat from Metro Manila. Already, my staff are pencil pushing. If there is a need for us to lead the way, I will lead the way. Yung DOT ho, ililipat ko yan sa Clark if I find the suitable justifications for it, and I would like to think that I will find the suitable justification for it. Then it will give a signal, an initiating signal to government officers na hindi naman kailangan nandito sa Metro Manila. Lilipat ko yung DOT dun sa Clark. Pangalawa ho, para kadagdag pananawan, overview, dagdag overview lang ho. Dun sa term ko ng 6 years, yung start of the year hanggang 1.5 year, yun ho yung tinatawag kong period of the low-lying fruits. Ibig sabihin, yung mga madadaling dapat gawin, yung kung nakabase sa sentido komon para maibsan ang traffic, gagawin ko. Doon sa after 1.5 years hanggang 4 years, 4 years, nandito na ho yung medium term at short term. Nandiyan na yung mga tinatawag na ponton bridge, yung mga modular bridge, nandiyan na ho yung BRT, nandiyan na ho yung cable, yung mga istruktura. Sasabihin nyo, nasaan yung mga underpass, overpass? Nandiyan ho yan, dun sa inaangad kong magawa, sa tulong ninyong lahat, yung tinatawag na 30 years roadmap of the Republic on transportation and traffic. Kasi kung hindi ho tayo gagawa niyan, yung experience sa EDSA ay mai-experience kung saan-saan dito sa Republika. Already it is being experienced in Cebu, already designs are being shown it will experience in Davao. Okay, it is a development plan. Pero ang plano ko dito, hindi ordinaryong development plan. It is a development plan that is legislated. Ibig sabihin, pag legislated, gusto mong baguhin, amindahin mo yung batas. Lahat ng inputs ng bawat probinsya nandoon, so that you can have a 30 years expectation that before the end of the 30th year, you will have your own development plan of transportation and traffic in your area. Pondo. Initially, the pondo, sana wag umasa sa GAA. Passing tabi na lang ho. Kasi kung aasa yung pondo sa GAA, that is one way of circumventing the development plan. Kailangan ho, we create a sinking fund na kung saan mag-aambag-ambag mga ibang aktibidades na pupunta sa sinking fund. Ehemplo, alimbawa ho yung development ng mga military bases. Okay? A certain portion of that, put it there. Ehemplo, yung mga bawat gasolina per liter, ilagay mo dyan. I'm not saying this as a matter of final position. These are all being studied. Even the development will be along the line of a 30 years development plan. Bakit 30 years? Kasi ho, 5 presidente lang yan. Pag 5 presidente ang titignan mo, mukhang maiksi yan, sir. Pero pag 30 years, mukhang mahaba. But until and unless we have a legislated development plan in traffic and transportation, God have mercy on us. EDSA experience of horrific and horrendous traffic will be experienced all over.
Madam Chair, thank you for that response. And the last point I wanted to make is if in the next hearing we can also have the representative of the different leagues, because we hear loud and clear yung sinasabi ni Secretary Tugade, marami talagang problemang na-create, whether kasalanan ng LGU o hindi. But many of us here, like Senator JV, mother niya is a mayor, si Senator Ralph, dating governor, yung asawa, my wife is a mayor, Senator Dick ran one of the best cities when he was the mayor and led the way in many innovations. But Mr. Secretary, it went both ways. During the campaign, I do agree that you are the best person to implement this. During the campaign, the consultation of now President Duterte, then Mayor Duterte and myself, will give you certain examples. No? The DOTC then hardly talk to any of the LGUs when they were building major projects in their areas. And then, pagka umangal yung LGU after, sasabihin kaya may delay. But it's clear in the local government code that you have to consult at the planning stage. So I think there's a way to have one authority or one policy. There's a way to coordinate. But let's put all of these people in the room together because may concerns din naman talaga sila sa local constituency nila.
Senator Alan, in fact, I manifested that earlier, that we will be inviting the LGUs to come in and also other related departments that will be discussed as they proceed with their presentations.
Thank you.
Okay,
Just to end with an example. Yung bus terminal na gagawin sa Taguig. So, pinangako lahat yon, ni isang beses hindi kinausap yung LGU, and then pinangako ng DPWH yung infrastructure. It's a year and a half later, wala pa yung infrastructure. Yung mismong right-of-way at road na blame nila na right-of-way, hindi naman nila kinonsult yung mga sasagasaan at walang alternative. So in the level of theory and giving the powers, madali and we will all agree with the examples that we all give here. But when it comes to the actual implementation, I think isa sa pinakamalaking sakit ng ulo ni DOTC Secretary, but we'll have to support him, is dealing with the subdivisions. So it's not enough that we give him the power, the money for additional security, but we also should give him the leeway of negotiating with them on an individual basis sa homeowners association. Kasi kung hindi, well, basically ang Pangulo sa ngayon, ang kalaban lang drugs and illegal mining. Kung lahat ng subdivision sa bansa makakalaban ni Secretary Tugade, halos buong Pilipinas kalaban niya. That's the reality, no? That's why hindi po madali ang hinihingi ni Secretary Tugade, but I think the amount of emergency power should also be matched by the amount of goodwill and backing by the two houses of Congress for him to be able to accomplish it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Who was going to say? I think Senator Gordon has a quick follow-up, and then Senator Lima. But again, I'd like to appeal to my fellow senators if we can continue with the presentation. So please make it as brief as possible.
I was going to say that, Madam Chair, because I'm glad that the Secretary has the vision of really going into the whole area. But we have to win in Metro Manila first, in Cebu perhaps, and in Davao. And that's why we're here today. And I'm glad that she's also taking up the aspect of decongestion of cities, because we have been very remiss in urban redevelopment, and this will be another topic for another committee later on. But the important thing here to remember is that we want to get the overview. For example, when you hit Manila, you have markets that take over half the highway when you get out of North Expressway. There are markets along Cubao, rich markets near Cubao, that even intervene in the planning of MRT and LRT. You know, it's the only area in the whole world where you get out of an LRT and then you have to walk through a shopping center to be able to ride to Marikina. That is a fact, Your Honor. And these are things that we have to unravel. The other thing that we have to unravel, over and above that, is our decision, and I'm glad that the Secretary mentioned that, decongestion of Metro Manila, utilizing the 3 airports of Subic, Clark, and Manila that I have long been fighting for, even in 1971 in the Constitutional Convention, that we have to utilize these airports, joint use at that time, and now utilize them now. And that's another topic for another investigation. But it is all part and parcel of a parcel of problems that this country has been totally inconvenienced, totally been subjected to more poverty. And that is why I bow to the wisdom of our chair that we get the whole overview right away before we even go to all kinds of places right away, such as railroads. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Gordon. Senator De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me start by saying that the Secretary here has actually managed or has succeeded in depicting a very distressing picture or situation in the transportation sector. And I don't think any one of us can actually disagree with that overview, and which almost makes the issue of whether there exists an emergency or national emergency to warrant the grant of emergency powers to the President almost a non-issue. I don't know with my colleagues if they agree with that. So I'm very eager to further see the presentation. But let me just point out one particular matter at this point, because I noticed that of the 3 bills now before us, at least 2 of them, the Ejercito bill and the Cayetano bill, propose the appointment of a traffic czar. Senator Cayetano refers to it as a traffic czar, while Senator Ejercito refers to it as a transport manager. Now, when we say we want to grant emergency powers, and as the Constitution would contemplate, this is supposed to be a grant of emergency powers to the President. So I doubt whether we can further grant emergency powers to a particular official, even if that particular official is a subordinate or an alter ego of the President. So that's one point. Number 2 is, well, there would be a problem there, because all of the departments, the agencies, the line agencies, you do have your own statutory mandate and authorities. A traffic czar, a singular official, cannot just be vested with broad powers to be able to override the functions of these line agencies. So may I have the opinion of, or the view of the good secretary as to how open he is to the idea of a single official to be appointed as. I have no problem with a single authority as the one being espoused by Senator Drilon, with clear delineation of that central authority. But with respect to single official, is it something that sits well with the good secretary?
Maybe that is also worth looking into, Madam Senator. But I hope my comment does not necessarily mean in any way or two that I'm volunteering and I'm accepting. Pwede ho yun. Mas maganda ho yung isa lang talaga ang kumukumpas. Pwede hong isang grupo, pero isa lang ang responsible na kumukumpas. Lahat ho yun. Yung
Na-answerable sa Pangulo.
Oo, na-acceptable sa Pangulo.
I think we can continue. We can debate on the technical, the legal technicalities later on, but I think I'd like to continue with the presentation now.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, distinguished senators, good morning. For the land sector, yung pong presentation kanina, yung pagsagot ni Secretary dun sa mga katanungan, mukhang marami po sa aking ipipresentahin na discuss na. But let me just go through over that presentation. So yun na nga po na sabi, meron na rin po kaming na pili ng mga alternate roads sa loob ng subdivision. At nabanggit na rin po yan kanina ni Secretary kung paano, ano yung pwedeng sagutin ng gobyerno at yung po mga detalya nito. Yung ikalawa po, a single authority, which we have just discussed earlier. Okay. So we now go to the road traffic congestion caused by public utility vehicles. At ito nga po ay isa sa mga problema. At ang kanina earlier, we have discussed about prohibiting bus terminals along major thoroughfares such as EDSA. Binilang po namin yung data po namin galing sa MMDA. Meron pong 27 bus terminals sa EDSA Cubao area lang. And in EDSA Pasay, there are 14. Some 2 weeks ago, yung planning group po namin conducted a survey in that area. And based on their survey, tinitingnan po nila yung labas at pasok ng mga bus na galing probinsya. And based on their survey, it would mean that every 2 minutes, there will be a bus that will go out or go inside the terminal. So can you just imagine po yung traffic na nabibinbin because yung mga pong bus, malaki po ang ano yan eh. At paglabas niyan, mga 2 lanes agad ang ma-ocupa. Pagpasok, ganun din po. Kaya po very strict yung in our traffic management plan now, we have deployed our LTO enforcers in that area, in that from Pituazon to Ermin Garcia, na yung pong mga pasaway na mga buses, kay city siya o provincial, we give them tickets because they obstruct the flow of traffic. So, yun po yung nangyayari ngayon. Kaya po, sinama rin at napag-usapan na rin po yan earlier. Now, we also would like to rationalize yung second. Yung pong rationalized routes to improve efficiency of public transport and better address the needs of the riding public and the franchising issues. Kasi nga po kung maglipat na tayo ng mga terminals, there will be a different permutation of the routes. So, tinitingnan din po namin because meron na rin po tayo ng USEP, yung Metro Manila Urban Transport Update and Capacity Enhancement Program where we gathered the data. Yung pong pinakita kanina na map of Mega Manila, that's where we gathered our data, where we can more or less determine from those data kung saan po yung mga pinanggagalingan ng ating mga mananakay papunta sa kanilang trabaho, papunta sa kanilang sa school. So, yun po. So, kailangan po namin para po madali na mag-reroute, i-rationalize yung mga ruta ng mga public transport. At base din po dito, meron po kami proposed alternative transport system as was already discussed. The bus rapid system where there is a dedicated lane. Para rin po itong rail transit, LRT, but it is on the road. It is also run by a signaling system. May oras, may operating like a train. We also would like to have the cable car, double-decker bus, P2P bus service. Yun naman pong point-to-point bus service, this is like express bus. Like, sa ngayon, we have 3 routes, Alabang to Makati, North EDSA or Trinoma to Makati. So, wala po itong tigil, walang tigilan. So, ang tinatarget po natin dito ay yung we encourage the car users to use public transport. So, sa ngayon po yung point-to-point, for example, when we did a survey 2 weeks ago in Alabang route, 40% of the passengers are former car users. So if we can just encourage the car users to use more public transport, then we can decrease the number of cars using the road. So, yun din po ang ating gustong mangyari. At yung pong yung kanina na binanggit tungkol sa procurement, yung pong, we may have to, yung bus rapid transit, kailangan po yung mga procurement doon. Also, the pontoon bridge at the Pasig River at Makati Circuit City and behind Makati City Hall. Para rin po dun sa mga sasakyan na manggagaling from the north, Mandaluyong, Manila, so that they need not traverse EDSA. Para rin po to decongest EDSA. And then eventually, and then also we will be, yung pong container transport via rail from Calamba Port of Manila or Roro from Batangas, Sangli Point, para po hindi na sila gumamit, yung mga container vans, hindi na gumamit ng kalsada natin. So this is also a form of decongesting our roads. Now, for the Land Transportation Office, we have really a severe backlog of driver's license and license plates. And currently, the TRO has been lifted by the court. So for the driver's license cards, we can proceed with the procurement of 6.7 million driver's license cards. And regulation allows a repeat order of 25% from the original contract. Thus, we can proceed with the procurement of 1.2 million cards. So yung pong remaining procurement of 6.7 million driver's license cards will be made through direct contracting. As regards license plates, it is still under TRO by the Supreme Court and disallowance by COA. So LTO has filed for reconsideration with COA on its decision to disallow the payment of license plates. Ang isa naming tinitingnang option ngayon, Madam Senator, Madam Chair, if granted the emergency power, we would like to pursue the procurement of the needed plates, but at the moment also we don't have a budget to procure because there is a case so that we are not given the budget to procure the license plates for 2016 and 2017. So, but for that, we may align funds. But for the long term, we will be just procuring vehicle plates making machine so that we need not order or import this from abroad. So, yun po yung aming mga proposals for the road or for the land transport sector.
Madam Chair, Madam Chairperson, Senator po, can we ask some questions on the land aspect before we move to aviation? Or would you prefer that because I think we're going to go into different sectors already, or would you prefer that we wait for all of the sectors to be tackled?
I think maybe you can write your questions down. Then we can go back to the how many presentations will we have? Just 3. So let's two more
All right,
to go.
we'll go after.
We'll go.
Good morning to the honorable senators, and with the permission of the chair. I will start off with the Manila International Airport. One of the challenges is to operate an airport infrastructure that is safe and secure, compliant with international standards. Foremost is to maintain our country status of Category 1. That is important to be in Category 1 because that is a status of safety and security for our country that will allow our aviation sector to continue flying throughout the world. One of the challenges is in complying with this would be our ability to provide a comprehensive modern security system. It is a procurement issue. because we need to get one immediately so that we can have a real modern security system for the 4 terminals in Manila Airport. When I say modern, it has the facilities and to recognize the biometric features. It can trace the movement of people. And it will have a central command that can effectively manage the security situation. We also have as a second solution, in view of the recent transfer of screeners from the OTS to the airport and to the CAAP. We have reviewed that the OTS, the mandate of OTS, which is the Office of the Transport Security, is to really regulate and come up with designs and standards for the transportation industry. But insofar as screening is concerned and the equipment to do this function for the protection of airport facilities, it has been devolved and transferred, or in the process of being transferred to Manila International Airports, the different airports, and the CAAP airports. However, there is a need in the case of MIA to have a reorganization plan because there is no plantilla to accommodate them, and we will simply need to come up with this solution as quickly as possible. Another challenge for MIAA is to maximize the runway utilization. This is really at the heart of the congestion of Manila. As you know, we have a perpendicular runway, and there is an inherent limitation on our ability to accept more flights. So we need to adopt techniques that involve both technology and civil works. When it comes to civil works, you have what you call the RET, which is the Rapid Exit Taxiway, which would be reducing the time, the occupancy time of the aircraft every time they land in our airports. We will also need taxiways and aprons so that we can improve the traffic within the airport complex. And of course, aeronautical navigational equipment. No? This has, one of the reasons why we have diverted flights would be in one of the runways, one of the instrument landing equipment is not working, and we've been waiting for supplies, equipment, parts to come in. No? This, of course, impairs the efficiency of the aircraft when there's bad weather to land in Manila. And then therefore it compels Manila Tower to move.
Excuse me, ma'am, Madam Chair, can you be a little bit more specific? Are you talking about radar or ILS?
ILS.
ILS.
Yes, the ILS in one of the short runway.
And they're out of commission right now?
Yes, it's not working right now. So you need to.
That's bad.
Only one for the short runway. So it doesn't mean that it cannot land. Aircraft cannot land. No, you use the RNAV procedure to land in that
or
strip.
VFR.
Yes.
Or GPS.
But without the ILS, you're required to have a lower altitude of visibility in order to land, and in bad weather, if that's not available, you're diverted. So again, this would be a procurement issue. You know, the sooner we're able to buy this equipment and other equipments for Manila Airport, the better for not only the safety of the airport, not only for decongesting airport, but impacting also on the tourism industry, for the Philippines. Another challenge would be the communication systems and computerization of processes. You know, NATS, which is an advisor of the government, they run Heathrow Airport. They have come up with a list of recommendations that they are finalizing. They have observed that there are a lot more equipments, communications and computerizations processes that should be undertaken by Manila Airport. And again, we need to acquire them as soon as possible. For CAAP, one of the challenges is to accelerate the transfer of general aviation, not only to Sangli, but to Clark or to Subic. No? So I think the idea is to transfer them outside of Manila because there are other facilities that can accommodate them. We would need special powers for this because there will come a point where more than just encouraging them, we really have to ask them to move out to decongest Manila. A second challenge would be sustaining ICAO, FAA Category 1 status and EU safety and security ratings. Again, these all deals with facilities, equipment, and also the training of personnel. The training of personnel it takes time, but we need to invest on them immediately. And again, we need to abbreviate the process of procuring the services to equip our personnel with the proper ratings and trainings and skills. A third challenge for CAAP is extending night operations of the provincial airports. And the reason for that is if you can have more flights flying after 5 from Manila and to provincial airports, then we will be able to expand the working time of Manila Airport in both ways. For CAB, one of the challenges would be the over-concentration of flights in Manila Airport. 98% of tourism comes by air, and the bulk of those traffic comes through Manila. So if they have inefficiencies in Manila, they call this, we have a problem. So one way of solving that is empowering CAB to accelerate its ability and power to engage in what we call traffic redistribution. It is really telling the commercial carriers to fly to Clark, to Subic, to Cebu, or some other destinations so that we can immediately decongest Manila. Thank you, Your Honor.
With the permission of the chairman, good morning, Madam Chairman and honorable members of the Senate. I'll try to go very briefly through the rail sector before the Secretary caps the whole presentation. So I'd just like to walk the... Gerald, can you go to the map? The map. Just very quickly for the benefit of the senators. The rail system in Manila is basically comprised of 3 lines and PNR. So we have line 1, which is the yellow line, line 2, which is the violet line along Aurora Boulevard. Line 1 is the oldest. It was built in the 80s, and it's along Taft Avenue. And then we have line 3, which is the blue line along EDSA. Then we have PNR. I guess one distinction between PNR and the rest of the lines is it has 37 interfaces with the road. So the ability to run that train efficiently is really dramatically different from the rest of the lines in the network. The table. Again, just to sum it up, line 1 is 21 kilometers today. This will be extended under the PPP concession. Line 2 is 14 kilometers, and there's an ongoing 4-kilometer extension in the east. MRT 3 is 16 kilometers. And on the third column, we see the volume of ridership, and basically line 1 and line 3 carry the bulk of the ridership of the whole network. Line 2 is not fully utilized. The occupancy is not that high. And then, of course, PNR, because of its interface with the road and slow operations and limited trains, has a much lower ridership of 65,000 per day. Now, the fourth column basically says what is the capacity of the system, and the fifth column is telling. The fifth column basically shows the state of affairs of our network. Line 1, only 62% of the system is actually in operations. The rest of the trains and wagons are in the depot, non-operational. Line 2, which is the newest of them all, 56% of the trains are operational. And MRT 3, 71% of the trains are operational. And then for PNR, only 46. Again, PNR, there are many legacy assets. And I guess the final column, the last column, indicates the reliability of the system. And as you can see, line 3, as the Secretary pointed out, has repeated train stoppages and problems, followed by line 1, and then line 2 is relatively new. PNR is a little misleading because it's 3 out of very few trips. I think line PNR can only run about 1/10 of the total trips of the other lines because it's a very slow train. Now, very quickly, I'll go to the matters which the senator mentioned about policy issues. I think in the rail sector, the the real problem that I'd like to highlight for the benefit of the senators is that we have a very serious supply chain problem in the rail sector. And it's manifested in how many trains are actually running. Because if you think of it, we have very innovative and ingenious engineers. But no matter what a Filipino engineer does, if he doesn't have the spare parts to keep these trains running and keep them running safe, then he is highly constrained. So spare parts is something that's true across all lines. The problem that exacerbates this is if you look at the Philippine market, we're a very small rail market, and there are very few international manufacturers. I think you have the big five, Alstom, Bombardier, and a few others, Siemens and a few others. And therefore, when you look at our priority in the rail procurement business, we're very low. A case in point is when we went to market a couple of months ago, I think in February, to acquire 120 trains from Japanese manufacturers, nobody showed up to our bidding. The reason being, all these companies are involved in contracts of 3,000 trains, 4,000 trains, and we were ordering 120 wagons. So you can imagine, given their limited production capacity, we fell low in the priority, and we had a failed bid. Again, and I think the most difficult part is many of these trains are manufactured by what we call in the industry OEMs, or original equipment manufacturers. Think of it as a Toyota, either by a Toyota, a Honda, or a Mitsubishi. The difference between a train and a car is the car, there's basically thousands, hundreds of thousands of cars in manufacturing, and the spare parts are in inventory. In trains, because it's a very limited amount, very few stock spare parts that are unique and proprietary are kept in inventory. So we have to really develop a long-term supply chain relationship with these manufacturers. Here comes the issue which I think the senators, we'd like to call the attention of the senators to. Under our current procurement rules, we are constrained by short-term procurement, annual budgets, and at the same time, if we buy in bulk, let's say a train basically has to be overhauled in 15 years. So you have to keep the supply chain alive for around 15 years. If you're unable to buy strategically or build a strategic relationship with these OEMs, they will put your train parts out of manufacturing. They'll take it off their assembly lines, and they'll do something bigger and more lucrative. And that's why part of the problem really is we have to have the power to be able to buy and rebuild our warehouses and restock our warehouses. Many of our warehouses today are basically empty. And that's why when a train goes down, in other countries, when a train goes down, you pull it out of the line, you replace the part and put it back in the line. In our system, if something goes down, you pull it out of the line and it stays out of the line until you're able to procure parts. And because we haven't maintained this supply chain relationship, that's where the problem lies. So what we're asking in terms of special powers is to relax the procurement rules when it comes to original equipment manufacturers. Not ball bearings, not tracks, because tracks are commodities. But there are certain goods in the industry which are very proprietary. So if you buy a Siemens train, you have to make sure you have the Siemens train spare parts for the next 15 years. And that goes into strategic contracting, which under our procurement rules are very difficult. That's why, as much as we plan to rebuild the system in 2 years, I think the strategic system, the strategic solution really is to get PPP partners who could then have more leeway in terms of establishing long-term relationship with suppliers. So there's a short-term solution under the special powers and a long-term solution to really solve the strategic problem of the rail industry, which is not unique to the Philippines. It's just exacerbated in the Philippines. The next item, and may I just add, we consulted this with the people who are really running the system. And too often when they try to buy parts on the long term, because they're unable to consume it in 1 year, they're questioned by COA in terms of, you didn't spend it, therefore you over-purchased, and they are then hit with disallowances. For government people in the agencies, a disallowance of 100 million pesos or 10 million pesos could mean the difference between collecting your retirement or get an ombudsman case. So it is really the Bids and Awards Committee in the agencies are very cowed and intimidated by this interpretation of COA on the rules. The next slide, I'll go very quickly. Again, it's related to procurement, but again, and it goes to the point of being cowed. Too often when, sabi nga ni Secretary, may winner and may loser. The loser either goes to the court, intimidates the Bids and Awards Committees in the media, threatens them, starts dropping names, and then it really cows the Bids and Awards Committee. Now, we understand that there always has to be redress, but if we could raise this at the court at a very high level, wherein, yes, if there is reason to question the procurement, then it should be questioned. But if we could say at the until it reaches the Supreme Court, we assume a regularity of the transaction. And to the Secretary's point, we have, under his leadership, we will be held to that to account on these types of procurements. So I think this is the second point, again, procurement related. And finally, just one last point, right of way. As we build the network, to the Senator's point about building a network, we have to buy depots and stations strategically. Now, do we have the detailed engineering of these depots at this point in time? I don't think we have them. And because this is a very dynamic design process. But nevertheless, if we don't buy the depots today, then by the time we do need them, there's a building on top, there's a mall on top, and it really just makes the whole planning and procurement process a little more difficult. So it's really the strategic nature of the procurement system where we need help in this particular sector. I guess it applies to all, but it's very acute in the rail sector because it's a small market. Although you deal with big projects, you have very few transactions globally, and we're a very small market in the global rail sector. So thank you very much, Madam Chairman.
Thank you for your presentation, Yusek Quintanar. One more presentation from the MMDA, which will be about 10 minutes long, and then we will begin with our questions. The senators here present. I'll have Senator Ralph Recto first, and then we will go with the by succession of by order of arrival. MMDA.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Allow me to present our representation on the condition of traffic here in Metro Manila. Our presentation is, of course, limited to Metro Manila conditions. And as what you said, Madam Chair, our presentation is data-driven. This is what is found in the roads. This is what the numbers are for us. First and foremost, are the issues. We've been dwelling onto the issues with regard to congestion. This data tells a lot. The nationwide population density of the Philippines is 337 persons per square kilometer. In Metro Manila, it's 20,247 persons per square kilometer. That speaks a lot. And dito po sa Metro Manila, we have a total population of 12.9 million according to the 2015 census. But that is for nighttime. At daytime, it's 14.5 million. That means every day, more than 1 million come in and goes out in the afternoon in Metro Manila. What do they do here in Metro Manila? Nag-aaral po sila dito. Dito sila nag-aaral. Dito ang kanilang kabuhayan. Dito ang kanilang mga trabaho. So this would probably explain yung rush hour traffic po natin. Ganun po kadami ang pumapasok at lumalabas ng Metro Manila on a daily basis. More than 1 million. Second issue po natin is the behavior of drivers. We know for a fact na pag tayo ay nasa loob ng sasakyan, nag-iiba yung ating behavior towards other people. It would be entirely different kung face-to-face tayo. But if we're shielded by the armor of our vehicles, nag-iiba ho ang behavior ng mga drivers po natin dito sa Metro Manila. The third issue is high accident rates. We have a total of 262 accidents per day. Ito lang po yung recorded accidents per day dito sa Metro Manila. Why did we come up with this? Isang aksidente lang po sa daan, magkokos ng tremendous traffic. Bakit po nagtatagal at hindi natatanggal agad yung mga nagbungguan sa daan? Is one, hindi ho ino-honor ng ibang, for example, ng insurance, ang investigation report na ginawa ng MMDA. It should be a traffic investigator from the Philippine National Police. The investigation report of the MMDA is also not accepted as evidence admissible in court. It should be the report of the Philippine National Police. So what happens? We have to wait, hindi ho gagalawin ng mga sasakyan until the police investigators come in order to sketch, to make a sketch and to make a report on the accident. And this would take time because na-traffic na nga yung buong daan, pati yung mga pulis para pumunta doon ay na-traffic na rin. Now, this is also telling, Madam Chairman, according to a JICA study, because Metro Manila has 636 square kilometers of land area, we should have a road network of around 8,295.7 kilometers. That's the total number, ideal number of road networks in Metro Manila. But what do we have right now? Our total road network is 5,220. So we lack 3,000 kilometers of road here in Metro Manila in order to service the metropolis. And what is 3,000 kilometers? That's the distance between Metro Manila and Tokyo. Ganun po kalaki ang pagkukulang natin sa road network. And of course, this is exacerbated by the high volume of vehicles. We have a total of 2.3 million registered motor vehicles in Metro Manila. And I emphasize the point, registered in Metro Manila. Because you correlate that with my earlier slide on the number of people coming in and out of Metro Manila. Hindi lang ho sila pupunta dito na naglalakad. Nakasakay din po sila at yung mga dala nilang mga sasakyan ay probably not registered in Metro Manila. They're probably registered in Cavite, in Antipolo, in Bulacan, and they go to Metro Manila every day. So, yung 2.3 million registered motor vehicles in Metro Manila is illusory. Mas malaki pa po ito kumpara sa data na nakuha po natin sa LTO. So this is more than that, and we have to understand also, Madam Chairman, that car sales has been increasing tremendously. According to projections by for this year, car manufacturers are predicting a 30% increase. So by the end of the year, we might be having 3 million registered motor vehicles in Metro Manila. And the total number of registered motor vehicles in Metro Manila is 26% of the entire registered vehicles all over the country. Napakalaki po niyan compared to the area of Metro Manila. And because of that, look at our EDSA traffic. According to a study, EDSA has a capacity of 6,000 vehicles per direction per hour. That means yung 6,000 pong vehicle, ilagay nyo lahat sa EDSA, for 1 hour, puno po yung EDSA. But what are we having? We have 6,800 actual motor vehicles per direction per hour in EDSA right now. But what is more alarming, Madam Chair, because I asked the Traffic Engineering Center Director of MMDA to conduct another volume count in Metro Manila, and she did a motor vehicle volume count on July 27 of this year. And that number of 6,800 has increased to 7,500 vehicles per direction per hour. For a capacity of 6,000, according to international standards, traffic standards, you should have an 80% optimum number of vehicles. So 6,000 is already full. So in order for traffic to move, you should only have 5,600 vehicles for EDSA per hour per direction. But right now, last July 27, we recorded 7,500 vehicles per direction per hour in EDSA. For one direction, Madam Chairman. Yes. Per direction. So 1 hour, one direction is 6,000. The other direction is another 6,000 at any given time. So that is the gravity of the traffic congestion in Metro Manila. And of course, the initial steps that we did, and this is along the proposals of the Department of Transportation, is to take away provincial buses along the major streets of Metro Manila, and we have already initiated that by constructing the Southwest Integrated Provincial Terminal. This is the terminal which services provincial buses coming from Cavite and 4 provinces of Batangas. Ito po yung nanggagaling sa Coastal Road. We were not able to catch yung nanggagaling po ng South Luzon Expressway because this is another route, and those provincial buses coming from the NLEX. Ito po yung tatlong major entry points ng Metro Manila. The NLEX, the SLEX, and the Cavitex. We were only able to capture Cavitex with the construction of the Southwest Integrated Provincial Terminal, and the Department of Transportation is now constructing the permanent Southwest Provincial Terminal, which would take the place of our temporary terminal, which the MMDA is now operating. What are the issues and concerns that we have? First, presence of road right-of-way obstructions, particularly illegally parked motor vehicles and illegal vendors. Dito po pumapasok yung operability natin with the LGUs. Sometimes we operate against these obstructions, but unfortunately, we are confronted with justifications coming from the local government units. For example, ordinances allowing parking along some roads, permits granted to vendors to ply their wares along the roads, and these are also, there are so many events like burol po ng mga kamag-anak ng barangay chairman, yung mga may party bigla sa daan. So these are the issues that we are facing insofar as illegal parking and traffic obstruction is concerned. As I said, we've launched several programs along this line, one of which is our out of line and anti-colorum drive. We have a total of 13,718 colorum vehicles that were apprehended, and ano ang problema natin dito is because kayang-kaya nilang tubusin yung mga vehicles na ito, and siguro what we need is a permanent, pag na-charge na po kayo maraming beses na nahuli kay colorum, you should not be able to fly. Yung vehicle na yun, hindi na siguro pwedeng gamitin sa kahit anong paraan. We have also initiated the anti-illegal parking operations, and this number is telling. For the month of July alone this year, we were able to impound 1,006 vehicles, illegally parked vehicles. This is done by one team of the MMDA, isang team lang po ito. And we issued ticket violations for another 1,500. Ito po yung mga pagdating natin, walang driver, tapos biglang darating, titikitan na lang namin because we are not allowed to impound vehicles that are not abandoned. That means within 5 minutes, the driver appears, we just issue a ticket, we will not impound the vehicle. 2,506 for the month of July by one team is a big number. What more if we had more teams? What more if the local government units would join us in these anti-illegal parking operations? Another success story, Madam Chairman, is our no physical contact traffic apprehension policy. This addresses the behavior of drivers. We would like them to be very worried that although no traffic constable or no HPGs along the road, there are CCTVs watching them. And we are able to apprehend from April 15 to August 9, 2016, a total of 24,762 violations. What is our issue here? Our traffic fines are so low. They range from 150 to 300 pesos that it is even costlier for us to send the summons and the tickets to them than the traffic fines that we receive. Finally, Madam Chairman, in order to alleviate traffic, we have launched our Pasig Ferry system. This is an alternate mode of transport and it is welcomed by everyone. What are the issues that we are facing with our Pasig Ferry system? We have so many passengers, Madam Chairman. We lack the boats, so maybe this is the procurement issue. We cannot promote our Pasig River Ferry because we are afraid that we might be creating a long queue within our Pasig Ferry stations. We just lack the boats. And there is another challenge with regard to our Pasig River Ferry system, Madam Chairman. Once the passengers get out of the boat, they do not have any public utility vehicle for their last mile. They have to walk because our Pasig ferries are located along the Pasig River and there are no public utility vehicles servicing that part of the road. So, Madam Chairman, these are the issues that we are presenting right now in a short briefing coming from MMDA. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much to our resource persons. There's no other presentation, correct? I would like to thank you. I've been to a lot of hearings in the past with the DOT, and I think that now we're not just being presented, we're not just being briefed by lawyers, but we're actual experts in their different departments. So I think I will start now with Senator Ralph Recto with this question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Unang-una, binabati ko ang ating bagong Secretary Tugade, for a good overview presentation para dito sa ating komite. At alam kong napakalaki ng hamon niya at ng mga kasama niya para tugunan yung problema ng mga kababayan natin sa napakatinding traffic, hindi lang sa EDSA, sa buong Metro Manila at sa Himpapawid, at marahil kasama na ang Cebu at ang Davao City na palapit na rin doon siguro. At again, congratulations, napakatapang ng ating Secretary para tanggapin ang hamon ng ating Pangulo na mamuro dito sa department na ito. Alam naman natin, base sa presentasyon, Secretary, na ang problema ninyo ay institutional, policy, at maraming organizational, and marami dito sa lahat ng sektor na nabanggit ay procurement issues din. Bago natin talakayan ng iba't iba dyan, gusto ko lang, may mga ilang issue lang na gusto kong tanungin kayo ng mabilisan. Halimbawa, meron kayong directive at nabanggit ng Pangulo to, at ako'y may panukala tungkol dito, yung pag-extend ng validity ng driver's license.
Yes, sir.
Na gawing 5 years. No? May panukala din tayo dito. Pero nabalitaan ko sa pahayagan at sa telebisyon na mag-uumpisa daw kayo dito itong October.
Yes, sir.
Pero Metro Manila lang.
Metro Manila pa lang po.
Bakit hindi natin gawin buong Pilipinas?
Kasi ang kinakailangan dyan yung teknolohiya, yung sistema. Na kung saan, alam ho natin ngayon, na yung sistema ng LTO, LTFRB ay kaakibat yung isang kumpanya na tinatawag na Stratcom. Bago ka ho gumalaw ng mga figure or dato dun sa Stratcom system, kailangan ho ng usapan yan. Sabihin ko na rin ho, na hindi ho ganyan makipag-usap sa Stratcom ngayon kasi meron ho silang kinokolekta na they claim to be arrears. Pero ganun pa man, nakausap na ho namin ng Stratcom at pumayag sila na i-calibrate yung sistema. Uumpisahan pa lang sa Metro Manila na 5 years. Hopefully, kung magawa ho yan, then ilalad ho natin pati yung buong teknolohiya at sistema nationwide.
Okay. So, posible ba yan? Kung October kayo mag-uumpisa sa Metro Manila, posible ba yan sa December, buong Pilipinas na?
Bigyan mo ako ng konting puwang, sir. Baka first quarter next year.
O, kung hindi Pasko, di Valentine's, February, posible kaya?
Ito ho, kukulin na daw namin end of the year.
End of the year. Makakatulong ba kung ipapasa natin yung panukala dito sa Kongreso para mandated na gawing 5 years na?
Tama ho. Pero ang actually ho, hindi na po, with due respect sa Kongreso, hindi na ho kailangan yung 5 years to implement using the law. Saklaw ho daw yata ng otoridad ko yun at ibinibigay ko na. Kaya nga ho lahat yung driver's license. Ang buhay ho niyan, 5 years. How does it work? Hindi ho naman lahat across the board 5 years kagad eh. The 5 years will come as it expires.
Correct.
Okay?
Tama.
So that ultimately, tutumbok yan na lahat na 5 years.
Correct.
Dream ko rin ho na yung renewal dun sa 5 years will be technology dictated. Kung wala kang violation, kung wala kang citation, at wala kang nagawang illegal na kung saan nakaposte sa mga datos, yung renewal ho data na lang ho, technology dictated. Wala nang physical presence sa LTO or sa LTFRB.
Correct. Kaya nga natin tinayo yung Department of Information Communication Technology.
Tama
Alam
po.
kong maraming trabaho na ang DOT kaya tinanggal na natin yung C sa DOTC, no?
Yes,
Pero
sir.
ang layunin naman natin dito ay para tulungan yung mga kababayan natin, babawasan yung red tape.
Tama ho.
Kaya nga sinasabi natin, gawing 5 years na.
Habang ho ginagawa yan, meron ho akong ginagawang eksperimento, yung kiosk style. Na kung saan nakausap ko yung mga ibang service provider na magtatayo tayo ng kiosk sa LTO. Yung aplikante, susundan mo lang yung proseso, yung filling the blanks. Then, they will just be interacting with the machine.
Yes.
Pag hindi ho nag-interact sa tao yan, you automatically, because of change in system, address the issue of pixel.
Okay. So maraming salamat sa Secretary. So ang sinasabi ninyo, by December, at sinabi ng isang kinatawan ninyo na posible magawa natin 5 years. So I can move to the next point,
Yes, sir.
Secretary. Okay. Maraming salamat, Secretary. Pangalawa, yung mga license plate, marami dyan bayad na. May polisiya ba tayo na yung mga nagbayad, isaoli ang pera nila?
Hindi ho. Ilagay ho natin sa tamang pananaw yung license plate. Yung license plate ho, ginagamit yan, may kaakibat na pribilehyo yan na maimaneho mo yung sasakyan without disturbance dun sa kalsada. Kung titignan nyo ho, at least sa aming maliit na panahon na nandito, wala naman hong inaaresto na walang plate eh. Hindi ho ba? So in other words, you are not being disturbed for not having a plate. So, dapat bang isole?
Unang-una, kailan may issue yung mga license plates?
Alam mo, may kaso po yan.
Naintindihan natin yan.
Diretsahan na ho yan. Mag-uusap tayo. Ang unang katanungan, bakit ba yung mga plaka ginagawa pa kung saan-saan, hindi ba pwedeng gawin dito? Nabanggit ho ng aking kasama kanina na plano namin, bilhin na kung kinakailangan yung same machine, bilhin ko. Then apply an expanded analytics on the plate. Having said that,
so sinasabi lang ninyo, Secretary, gobyerno na ang gagawa ng plaka.
On a medium term, gusto ko yon.
Okay.
Para kontrolado natin yung tinatawag na supply and demand sa
Ganon
plaka.
din sa lisensya.
Yes, sir.
Posible.
Yes,
Para
sir.
maliwanag yung pulong natin. Lisensya at plaka,
Dito.
posible sa sinasabi ninyo, gobyerno na ang mag-i-issue.
Tama po yan.
Katulad ng pasaporte natin,
Yes, sir.
halimbawa. Diba?
Kasi sabi ko nga ho, may kaso ngayon. Hindi mo alam kung kailan dadating yung backlog. Hindi mo rin kailan kung may lalabas mo yung nasa pier.
Yan ba hinihingi din ninyo sa emergency powers?
Kung masasaklaw ho sa mga kasulatan na ilalagay sa emergency power para ma-address ko, limbawa yung nandito na ngayon, in relation to our relationship with COA. Bakit hindi ho? Para mai-withdraw ko yung 300,000 plates na nasa aduana. At least makakatulong yan.
Kasi yun may problema na eh.
Kasi may problema
so baka
na.
pwede isabatas natin kung ano yung gagawin.
Ngayon, iniisip ko rin ho, na baka I will start from ground zero. Kalimutan na muna natin, magkapit-bisik tayo yung nakaraan. Let's look forward. Magpagawa na ho kaya ako ng mga plaka ko ngayon dito at magpadala ko dito ng equipment with the analytics we desire. Analytics that can trace and monitor pati yung mga tinatawag na colorum. Yung mga ikakabito yung sa plaka eh.
Pero baka naman sabihin naman natin dyan, lahat na naman ng sasakyan, papalitan yung plaka. Panibago, katulad ng nakaraan.
Yung iba ho, karamihan ho,
lang sabi ko nung
karamihan ho, walang
bago
plaka.
lang siguro.
Kaya, karamihan ho, walang plaka, so walang papalitan na plaka.
So libre na dahil binayaran na.
Hindi ho, mahirap po yun.
Ang ibig ko sabihin, Secretary, matututuin tayo sa mga nakaraan dahil lumaki ang problema ito doon sa plaka dahil nung nakaraan sinabi palitan lahat ng plaka na kahit hindi kailangan, di ba?
Hindi ko gagawin yan kung hindi kailangan.
So hindi naman niya sinasabi yun.
Hindi ko sinasabi yun at hindi ko pa pinag-iisipan yun.
Correct. Okay, now, something for further study, Secretary. Yung tao nagbayad na ng plaka. Okay? Hindi pa rin yan nakukuha. Hindi ba tama lang dapat na may ibalik din yung pera niya?
Siguro hindi ho yung kabuuan. Siguro a portion. Remember, sir, what I said.
Wala akong problema doon. Something to think about, Secretary.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then let me move on. Secretary, meron din ako na nabasa sa payagan. At ito sinusubaybayan ko. Dahil mahaba na rin naman ang karanasan natin dito sa transport. Tungkol sa, halimbawa, meron daw petition for a 10% hike ang LRT1.
Sa totoo lang ho, wala pa akong natatanggap na formal. Bagamat naririnig at wala akong natanggap na formal na request, sinabihan ko na ho yung aking management, any increases on the rails, LRT, is totally not acceptable to me. Any increases must be predicated on enhanced quality service. Magmumuka tayong katawa-tawa sa paigting na problema, magtataas ako ng plete o pamasahe, hindi naman yata tama yun.
Tama, Secretary. Okay. What about the MRT? Meron din rate increase ba yan?
Wala ho kaming planong ganyan.
Wala naman.
Yun nga ho yung sinasabi ko na lalabas ho kaming katawa-tawa na magre-rate increase ka na yung serbisyo mo hindi naman maganda. Tatawa-tawa ho tayo dyan.
Tama po yun. Dahil matagal ko na sinasabi. Kasi nakaraan may balak sana mag-rate increase eh. Di ba?
Bagamat wala pa ho ako natatanggap na formal request, nag-issue na ho ako ng instruksyon na hindi ko papayagan ang increases ng pamasahe.
Okay. Ng fare sa LRT
yes,
at MRT. What about toll roads?
Toll roads. Ang toll roads yun ho, nasabi ko yata last
increases?
Week na ayaw ko mag-increase. Okay? Yung aspeto ng toll, ayaw ko mag-increase. Dalawa ho yung aspeto niyan. Una, yung fare. Ang personal na feeling ko, ayaw ko mag-increase. Yung pangalawang aspeto, I will synchronize the toll systems. Kung maalala nyo, Senator, na mayroong tatlong sistema sa toll. Sistema ni Mr. Ramon Ang, yung RFID, yung sistema ng Ayala, yung sistema ni Mr. Pangilinan. Meron ho kaming plano na kung saan isi-synchronize ito para isang electronic systems monitoring na lang at yun na lang ang mag-ahati kung kanino yung napasok, kanino yung babayaran. Pag ginawa nyo yan, our tentative pencil pushing, mababawasan no yung waiting sa toll ng mga 10-15 minutes. Kaakibat ho nito, kinakausap din namin yung mga service provider. Pwede ba dagdagan nyo rin sa exit yung toll booths
Tama po yung direction yan. Sinusuporta natin yan.
So yung sa plete, hindi ho ako excited dyan at hindi
Pero
ako papayag na madalian dyan.
Pero yung, ang tanong ko kanina, kung you may toll fare increase, wala.
Wala ho. Wala pa ho kung natatanggap. Baka mag-inbox sila ng kontrata. Di-reviewin natin yung kontrata. At gagamitin natin yung pakiusap.
Okay.
Lalo kung may
Question,
special
Secretary.
power ako, nayaw ko.
Nabanggitin nyo may kontrata. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, karamihan sa mga kontratang ito, kada 2 taon, may rate increases. Okay? Kada 2 taon. Okay? Marami dyan, base sa mga kontrata, parang June na. Okay? Having said that, at alam ko malaki ang mga contingent liability ng gobyerno sa mga kontratang ito.
Tama.
Okay. Kung hindi nga walang toll increase, masasabi rin ba ninyo na hindi naman magagaling sa taxpayer yung pambayad yan?
Hindi naman ho.
Hindi manggagaling.
Hindi ho.
Kasi dalawang
meron hong arbitration issue.
Secretary,
Pinaalala
diba?
sa akin ng kasama ko na merong arbitration issue yata yung isang toll operator. Kakausapin ko ho yun na kung maaari, i-drop na muna yung arbitration. At para, magtuloy-tuloy muna tayo na walang...
So, anong epekto ng arbitration pag natalo tayo? Sasabihin, babayaran ng gobyerno. Tama ba yun? Kung sakali man.
Iaalaw ho, dalawang aspeto yan. Iaalaw yung...
Either the...
At kung merong arrears, babayaran.
ng taxpayer naman, kung sakali.
Yes, sir.
Di ho ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Doon papasok yung issue ng mga procurement na hinihingi din kasi ninyo eh.
Tama ho, sir.
Okay. Marami dito maging land or air sa lahat ng presentation kanina. Maliban sa mga institutional issues, procurement ang pinakamahalaga dito.
Yes, sir.
Di ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, dalawa lang ang magbabayad yan eh. Either the taxpayer or the user. Di ba? Meron na ba kayong accounting magkano lahat ng contingent liability sa lahat ng kontratang pinasok ng ating pamalaan?
Wala pa ho. Kasi hindi ko ho priority talagang tignan yung mga nakaraan. Ang priority ko ngayon itignan yung panghinaharap at pangkasalukuyan. Pag na plansya na ho natin yung dapat gampanan, baka silipin natin yung mga nakaraan. Hindi ko naman sinasabing hindi titignan. Ang sinasabi ko lang ho, it is a matter of
Hindi ko naman sinasabi na we have to blame yung nakaraan. Tama ka dyan. No? Nandito ka na, we have to move forward.
Opo.
But may mga kontrata yan nung nakaraan which will pose challenges also moving forward.
Yes,
na
sir.
kinakailangan hanapan natin ng solusyon.
Yes, sir.
At marami tayong panukala dito na solusyon tungkol sa mga bagay na yan. No? And later on, siguro, ipapasok ko itong mga bills sa inyo para mapag-aralan ng inyong tanggapan. Dahil nakita ko naman, marami kayong sectoral. Meron kayong land, air, sea, may planning, may legal. Siguro papasok sa legal yung iba dyan. Di ba?
Yes, sir.
At yung pakikipag-usap ninyo sa Kongreso din. No? Okay, let me move forward. No? Malaki ang problema sa traffic natin sa EDSA. Yun ang napag-usapan natin kanina dito. Yung MRT. May kontrata na naman yung mga yan. Yung sa Dailan locomotive. Di ba?
Yes, sir.
Ilan tren na ba ang... May delay na ba dyan? Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, ilang beses nang pinangako sa atin na dumating dapat last year, dumating noong 2016 first quarter, dapat by now, umaandar na yan. Umaandar na ba?
Kung mararapatin ho,
Opo.
kasi baka pumunta tayo sa teknikalidad ng numero at mga engineer. Pwede ho bang ipasa ko sa USEC ko sa rails?
Opo. Maraming salamat, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Senator, on the Dalian trains, right now we have 8 trains in the depot. My understanding is there are 4 coming within the month. And
Are they on track, yung schedule ng deliveries?
I think there's a bit delay. But whether it is a delay on the cost of government or the cost of the manufacturer, we'll check those details in the contract. the order are 48 wagons. When you put them together in 4 cars, you get 12. Yeah, 12 trains. We have 8 in the depot, and then I think there are 4 coming in the next week or so. Yeah, and then it'll be we'll have complete delivery by the first quarter of 2017. But
Para kung natatandaan ko dati, ang presentation ng DOT sa amin, and we don't fault you, no, dahil mga bago naman kayo, was last year pa dapat, or last quarter, or first quarter this year. Pero ngayon, sinasabi na natin, first quarter next year. Okay?
Yes. That's correct, Mr. Senator.
Yes. So, ang delay, hindi mo masabi kung kasalanan ng gobyerno or kasalanan ng supplier.
Opo. We'll review the contract. But
pagkakasalanan ng gobyerno, anong ibig sabihin nun?
Usually, pag ganyan mga contracts, international contracts, may mga, I think it's parang may, you can push back the delivery date if it's at the cost of the government. If it's a cost of the manufacturer, then you have liquidated damages.
Okay. So, it's also both ways, di ba? Posible, pagkasalanan din ng gobyerno, may utang na tayo sa kanila.
Hindi naman po usually utang. It's just a matter of pushing back their delivery dates. But again, Mr. Senator, I haven't had the opportunity to review the details of the contract. Okay. But usually at these types of contracts, they have those provisions, either liquidated damages or delay extensions.
And that's why it is important to review these contracts, not to find fault, but to know in the future what type of contracts you will be entering into. Di ba? Okay? At nung nakaraan kasi din, hindi maliwanag din yung nung araw kasi yung PPP, karamihan dito PPP din eh. Not necessarily the Dailan, pero yung mga LRTs and all that, MRTs, di ba? BOT, PPP.
Actually, for of the 4 lines, the line 3 was under a BLT contracted in the 90s.
Correct.
And then line 1 was a PPP contracted in 2014.
Correct. So mahalaga ma-review din yan kasi gagawa rin kayo ng mga bagong kontrata. That's the point, di ba? Okay? And katulad yan, sa LRT line 1, may dokumento kami dito na from last year pa, na hindi pa nga nag-uumpisa, may utang na yung gobyerno na 7.5 billion. Meron bang, tawag dito, meron bang, kung walang petition for fair increase, meron bang sulat sa inyo, sa DOT ngayon, na humihingi ng, dahil hindi na-deliver ng gobyerno yung kanilang pinangako, ayon sa kontrata, na kailangan bayaran na sila yung mga mag-ooperate noong linyang ito ng 7.5 billion and counting. Meron na ba? Wala naman.
Mr. Senator, there are letters given to the government in the past. Now, my understanding of the contract is, and I'm familiar with the contract, is there is a mechanism in the contract when it is bidded that there is an independent consultant which has been identified already and procured by the government to determine the veracity of the claim. This process is ongoing, and the amounts have not yet been determined at this point.
Yes. But you're familiar with that letter?
I'm aware that that letter was sent last year.
Correct. August 7 last year pa. I have a copy here, di ba? Okay. Anyway, that's the point I'm trying to make, no? And in the past, yung mga bidding na mga, whether it was BOT, whether it's MRT3 in the past, in the 90s, or itong latest ones in 2014. Especially the latest, may mga premium payments yan.
Meron po.
Di ba? Okay. What are your thoughts on those premium payments? Kailangan ba ng gobyerno ng premium payment o pwedeng tanggalin na natin yung premium payment? At kung sakasakali may bidding, whether may bidding o hindi ba dapat yung affordability ng user? Parang pababaan ng presyo, hindi pataasan ng presyo for the user dapat.
Opo. Again, if I may beg the indulgence of the senators, we haven't really had the full opportunity to brief the secretary and come up with a department policy. But these are very valid issues, Mr. Senator. I just want to underscore that in all the contracts, that the DOTC have entered into, we've never actually relinquished the right of tariff setting. The tariff setting policy still rests with the Department of Transportation, but it goes to your earlier point about the policy issue of user pay against general taxpayer. But I do hope to underscore that in all the contracts that we've entered into, the power of tariff setting is fully within the control of the department.
I agree. Now, but the point is this, no, Secretary. Kanina, nanawagan ng ating chairman ng committee. Dahil ito, pinag-uusapan natin dito, procurement. At emergency powers, kung maaari, in effect, direct contracting, walang bidding, yun ang sinasabi. At ito, marami to, 100 bilyon ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. 100 bilyon. Ang magbabayad ito, dalawa lang eh. Taxpayer or the user. Okay? Sinabi ng chairman natin kanina na kailangan FOI compliant. Wala akong duda na gagawin ninyo yan dahil napirma naman ng ating Pangulo na yung kauna-una on the executive FOI compliant. Pero pangalawa, dagdag pa dito. Dapat we should be mindful na yung bidding, pababaan yan in favor of the user dapat. Hindi makokolekta ng gobyerno sa premium payment, halimbawa. Okay? So, nang sa gano'n, maging affordable to the user. Yan ba pwede pangalawang, halimbawa, may kontrata kayong pinasok. Bago ipasok yan, malaman ng taong bayan, o sige, eto, i-upgrade tong MRT line na to. Etong LRT line, we will extend it. Ito ang babayaran ng pasahero in the first year. May parametric formula naman kayo eh. Di ba? Pero hindi maintindihan ng tao yan kung ilalagay niyo yung formula eh. Ilagay na ninyo yung halaga. At kada 2 taon, kung yun ang nasa kontrata, itataas ng ganito kataas to kada 2 taon. Kasi marami dito 30 years eh. Di ba? Posible. 30-year period contracts, di ba?
Yeah. Mr.
Gagawin po namin yan, sir.
So, para meron na kaagad na base fee, alam ng pasahero, ito, babayaran dyan.
I can feel where the Honorable Senator is coming from, sir. We will do that, sir.
Thank you, Secretary.
Again, in line with FOI compliances.
Correct. Para yung user pay principle. Di ba? Okay. Malaki din ang papel ng DPWH dito, hindi lang ng DOT, palagay ko. Katulad na banggit kanina ng OIC, Attorney Carlos, you have how many kilometers of roads in Metro Manila? 5,000?
5,200, Mr. Chair.
And
Senator,
based on the population, the density per square kilometer, you need something like 8,000.
Yes, sir.
Kilometers of roads and bridges in Metro Manila.
Yes, Mr. Senator.
Okay, now, hindi naman gumagawa ng kalsada ang Department of Transportation except that, palagay ko sa ngayon, ang toll road sa inyo.
Yes, sir.
Tama?
Tama ho.
Yan ba gusto ninyo maging final policy na ang toll road ay dapat sa ilalim ng DOT dahil for the last how many administrations, parang football yan, sinisipa-sipa. DPWH, DOT, DPWH, DOT. Di ba kailangan may permanency na yan?
Tama ho. Siguro dapat lang mag-usap kami ni Secretary Villar at sasabihin ko ngayon na yung samahan po namin ni Secretary Villar, samahan ng DPWH, saka samahan ng DOT, napakaganda ho.
At ng MMDA. Dapat, di ba?
Sige ho. Nag-uusap po kami dun sa struktura na kung saan nagtutulungan kami. In fact, meron ho mga bagay o mga materyales na nag-uusap yung DOT at Department of Public Works nung nakaraan. Lahat ho yun, nagkasundo na kami ni Secretary Mark Villar na yung kailangan niya na nasa amin, ibibigay ko na. Halimbawa ho, yung modular bridge. Ito ho yung mga modular
projects ng mga nakarang administrasyon na naka-impact sa Subic. Nag-agree na ho na kami na yung sa amin, ibibigay ko na sa Department of Public Works para mabigyan buhay yung tulay na itatayo sa modular bridge sa
I commend you on that, Secretary, and I congratulate you for having this good relationship, which I was informed of also by the DPWH Secretary. But the point is this, nabanggit kanina na 3,000 kilometro ang kakailanganin sa Metro Manila. According to the MMDA. Okay. So, hindi ba kaya dapat na mag-usap ang DOT kung hindi man 3,000, kalahati ng whatever that figure is, sa planning ninyo, may ugnayan dapat din kayo, o baka dapat masaklaw din ng emergency powers ang DPWH. Lalo na pagdating sa traffic sa Metro Manila.
Oo naman. Malaking bagay ko yung infrastruktura dun sa traffic situation and decongesting Metro Manila.
Kailangan may align yung mga budget ninyo eh.
Tama ko kayo dyan, sir.
Okay. Sa Department of Transportation ba, meron ba kayong mga civil engineers? Meron.
Meron naman tayo. Diba?
So kung nabanggit nyo kanina...
Mas marami na yata ang engineers kesa abogado.
Hindi, halimbawa. Ang DPWH nung araw, 20,000 ang engineer, ngayon 16,000 na lang. Ang DPWH. Kaya nabanggit nyo kanina, 30,000 na empleyado nyo, 10,000 endo.
Ang tawag ko nila,
Job order. Yan ang endo ng gobyerno. May hearing mamaya dyan, ibang committee naman, alauna. Napupunta ako rin. Anyway, the point is this. Ilan sa empleyado ninyo ang engineers?
Hindi ko masasabi yung number ngayon dyan.
Hindi ninyo alam.
Siguro magko-communicate na lang ho ako sa inyo kung mararapatin po. Either by email or by text at sasabihin ko kung ilan ang engineer.
Sige. Kasi karamihan dito, palagay ko, civil works. Diba? Marami dito. Gagawa ka ng subway, gagawa ka ng elevated highway, gagawa ka ng elevated train. Lahat yan, civil works din eh. Gagawa ka ng airport. So marami dyan, kailangan engineer siguro. Okay, let me move on. Ito yung mga pangkaraniwan muna na simple. Yung computer control room ng MRT. Nakita ko sa pahayagan, sa social media, actually. Yung itsura. At kung di ako nagkakamali, 2 pa. Marami sa mga millennial generation natin ngayon, hindi alam ang 2 eh. Floppy disk pa ang ginagamit. Totoo po ba yun, Secretary?
It's a aging system, and I think
aging or aged?
Well, depends on how much white hair you have, Mr. But it's true. It's an age system, Mr. Senator. But the MRT3 team is in the process of procuring a upgrade of the signaling system. The signaling system is a Bombardier signaling system, which is one of the big manufacturers. It's just an aging system.
And that is the heart.
It's the heart of the safety mechanism. And that's why for the Dalian trains, although they're in the depot, until it's properly signaled and safe to operate, this is based on the Secretary's policy, we will never do anything that will endanger the passenger safety. That's why we will make sure that the signaling is safe. And if I may add just one short point, Mr. Senator, that's why the removal of trains actually is happening so frequently, because the signaling system indicates to the operations and control center that there is a problem, and then the SOP is to pull the train out, and we have to unload passengers. So it's not perfect, and we're upgrading
it. So kailan ninyo ma-upgrade sa tansya ninyo?
September.
Next year?
Within the year po. Within the year.
But
the procurement is ongoing. It's actually been awarded already.
Good. Congratulations. Okay, very good. Yung common station, have you decided already? Will it be in SM, in Ayala, or in between, or both? I don't know. What?
In between ho.
In between?
Para wala na maglalakad na mga mananakay.
Kasi di ba kung dadaan yung MRT7 naman,
yes, sir.
doon i-connect,
yes,
di ba?
Ang importante lang ho dito, na kung saan no nakaraan, yung mga stakeholders nagkakasuhan at nag-aaway, nagkasundo na ho sila na dun sa lugar na yon, dun ilalagay yung common station. Yung mga position ng mga stakeholders, nakasundo na sila. So, siguro, mapipirma natin ang end of the month. Siguro ho, within the month, yung matagal hong issue na common station, magpipirmahan ng ho within the end of the month.
Na-decision na yan nung secretary ako, 2009 or 8, hindi ako nagkakamali. 8 taon na pa. Bago-bago ang siguro.
Pero ngayon ho, in mga 60 days, ayusin na ho natin.
At saka,
not one or the other, ma'am.
Okay.
It is a compromise position between yung dati saka yung sa SM nasa gitna. Ang konsiderasyon ho dyan, hindi ho mahihirapan yung pasahero.
Tama yun, tama yun. So,
yun ho yung, nag-agree na ho.
Doon naman ako hanga kay Secretary Duterte.
Napagkasundo ho yun.
Marami sa problema naman natin, common sense solutions, di ba? Adyan, marami si Secretary Duterte, wala akong kaduda-duda.
Naayos na ho yun.
Thank you.
Sana ho, walang mangyayaring intervening situation para hindi na, anong tawag dito, hindi matuloy o makaproblema po yung signing. Pero per schedule, within the month.
Last two brief items, Secretary. Alam ko marami pa magtatanong. Marami pa sana akong katanungan pero we will have other opportunities anyway. Yung nabanggit kanina, yung Pasig Ferry. Meron ba tayong plano dyan na palagay ko malaki ang maitutulong ng Pasig Ferry to solve our problems in Metro Manila?
Agree ho ako dyan. Pero tignan natin sa plataforma ng emergency power. Yung ginagawa ho ng MMDA ngayon, ginagawa rin ng DOT yan Baka dapat, iisa na lang yung kukumpas at kukumpay.
So
kailangan adresan ng special power yon. Having said that, to the issue, meron ho bang magagawang mabuti yung ferry? Yes, sir. Pinag-aaralan ho namin, in fact, binanggit ho sa SONA ni President Duterte yung ferry. Pinag-iisipan ho namin kung ano yung sasakyan or equipment na gagamitin sa ferry. Kasi alam naman ho natin, may kadumihan ng konti yung Pasig at nasisira ho yung makina. Pangalawa ho, kung saan yung station, pick-up station. Tandaan nyo ho, yung ibang pick-up station, nakatapat sa Malacanang Ang balita ko nga dyan, pagdadaan ka dun, yuyuko ka pa, hindi ka, tinitignan lahat yun. Pag nabuo ho yan, ang personal ko lang ho ito, ang approach ko ho dyan, pasensya na lang sir, kasi ang sabi nila, MMDA mag-ooperate. Ako, ayaw ko ho mag-ooperate, ibibigay ko sa pribado yan, na sila ang mag-ooperate. Yun lang ho ang personal na position ko. Pag na-address ho yan, na kung anong vessel ang gagamitin, sino ba talagang kukumpas dyan para maayos yung ferry project?
Secretary, I'm one with you na dapat yan, yung planning yan, yung bidding yan, should be with the DOT. Hindi trabaho dapat ng MMDA mag-operate ng anuman linya.
Ganun nga ho
Ang trabaho lang dapat nila ay traffic management. Di ba?
Marami hong ganyan sa DOT na regulator ka na,
operator ka pa.
Nag-ooperate ka pa. Yun din ho yung isang tinutumbak. Tinutumbok na banggit ho kanina. Yung relasyon ng CAAP, yung relasyon ng OTS.
And finally, Secretary, for the lack of time, dahil marami pa magtatanong, siguro in the next hearing, kung pwede sana, para mapadali sa amin in crafting the emergency powers, di ba? Tatlong sources naman ng funding Meron tayong indicative, magkano ba ang kailangan ninyo para ma-solve natin yung problema ng traffic sa Metro Manila. Marami dyan, rail ang kailangan. Temporarily, kalsada, dagdag na kalsada, dagdag na tulay. Dagdag dyan, marami dyan, mass transit system talaga ang kailangan. Yung PNR at yung MRT at yung LRT. At dagdag na MRT, dagdag na LRT, mas mahabang linya din ng PNR. Diba? Tapos yung traffic sa Himpapawid. Kailangan mo ng additional runways, kailangan mo ng airport, night flying capability in the region, so on and so forth, di ba? So, dapat yan, may listahan na tayo kung ano yung gagawin natin in the next 6 years or in the next 3 at least, more or less. At meron tayong halaga na pinag-uusapan dahil masasaklaw yan sa emergency power. Tatlong sources ng pondo meron. Ang isa, maliwanag yung general fund. Okay? Ang pangalawa, ODA, which will find its way the general fund. Pero kung G2G dyan, hindi Pilipino ang gagawa, iba ang gagawa niyan. Okay? Ang pangatlo, PPP. Another mode of procurement. Diba? Ngayon, may mga halaga yan. How much will you get from the general fund? How much will you get from ODA? How much will you need from private sector resources? At baka naman maaari in many of these infrastructure projects para protektado din ng Pilipino. Bakit hindi kaya ilang porsyento dyan ari ng Pilipino? Halimbawa, ari ng SSS, ari ng GSIS, para yung pension funds natin, yung mga toll road na ginagawa, bakit hindi parte dyan ari ng Pilipino? Ari ng GSIS, ari ng SSS, ari ng pension fund natin. Total, long term naman yung pension Para proud pa yung Pilipino, gagamitin niya yung infrastruktura. Alam niya, pag nagretiro siya, may dividendo siya galing sa mga infrastructure. Kikita lahat yan Di ho ba? That way, kung mataas pa ng presyo, mapupunta sa pensyon ng Pilipino. Pwede pag-aralan natin yan siguro. Now, having said that, may mga panukala ako, finally. We will give you a copy of the PPP bill. Unfortunately, it was not referred to this committee. I think it was referred to the Public Works Committee. Pero ngayon nalaman ko na ang toll roads pala nasa ilalim na rin ninyo. So karamihan ng PPP projects natin naman under this bill, which cuts the bidding process also, but protects the public interest, will fall under the Department of Transportation. Kasi airports, seaports, railway, toll road. Ito yung 4 na pinakamahalagang bagay to improve our competitiveness, di ba? So halos lahat yan babagsak sa inyong tanggapan. Kaya siguro, maaga pa lang, pag-aralan na ninyo, accompanying measure tungkol sa emergency powers, yung PPP, yung bagong amendments to the PPP bill o law, isa yan. Pangalawa, I've filed several bills here. Kanina nabanggit ninyo, sourcing of funds. Nabanggit nyo, piso galing sa petrolyo, ilagay dito. Among other things, may mga recommendation tayo dito na yung road users tax. Pwede natin hatiin into 3 Lahat ng collection sa Luzon para sa subsidy sa mga mass transit system sa Luzon. Lahat ng collection sa Visayas, subsidy para sa mass transit system sa Visayas. Lahat ng collection sa Mindanao, subsidy para sa mass transit system sa Mindanao. So maraming versions to na mga panukala na pwede nyong i-review nang sa ganon, may dagdag puhunan na kayo dito sa mga proyektong iniisip ninyong gawin para maibsan yung traffic at pabilisin yung pagdaloy ng tao at komersyo sa ating bansa, mas maging produktibo at mas lalo pang umunlad ang ating ekonomiya. Hindi tulad ngayon, To me, it's a no-brainer. 2.5 billion and counting a day ang nawawala sa atin. Minsan, yung incompetence mas mahal kaysa sa inefficiency. Di ba? Kaya ako sangayon ako na pwede natin bigyan ng emergency powers with certain caveats. Yung nabanggit ni Chairman at yung nabanggit ko yung user fee principle. So again, Secretary at sa aking mga kasama, maraming salamat for your patience and thank you for affording me the opportunity to ask these questions. Thank you.
Maraming salamat din po, sir.
Thank you, Senator Ralph. What we're going to, what I'm requesting now, our senators, is to please limit your questions to 3 questions, so at least we can accommodate everyone, and then just answer as short as possible. So the sequence will be Senator Ejercito, Soto, Binay, Villanueva de Lima, Recto, well, you're done. Drilon, Aquino, Zubiri, Angara, Gordon, Cayetano. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Manny Pacquiao and Senator Mig Zubiri.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary Duterte, no, medyo masaya po ako no, na marinig yung mga plano.
Salamat po.
Your extensive presentation, at least nabigyan ng buhay yung matagal ko na hong talagang panaginip at pinapanukala na talagang bigyang importansya at kahalagan ang railway system. No? I've been advocating this ever since I was still in Congress until here in the Senate. But all the while, every budget hearing, I've been asking yung time frame, no? Kasi nandun na yung sinasabi na yung commuter line ng Malolos to Manila, yung Manila to Calamba, and the North and South Rail. Kaya lang, ang panay time frame na lang ang nakita ko, hindi na materialize. But now that we are already hearing of regarding giving the President the emergency powers to address the transport crisis, I just want to hear from you, Secretary, or from any of your department, what will be the action plan once we are able, for example, we are able to grant the President the emergency powers? Ano po ang magiging action plan? Ano po ang uunahin? North Rail po ba? South Rail po ba? Mindanao Railway po ba? Yung commuter line? Briefly lang po. And yung time frame po.
If you will note, sir, sectoral na ho tayo ngayon. Kaya yung mga nasasaklaw sa special power, pwede ho lahat magsabay-sabayan. Siguro ang pwede ho natin gawin, ilalagay ho namin sa hard copy o sa papel at dokumento yung tinatawag na timelines at ibibigay namin sa members ng mga komite na kung saan i-specify namin bawat proyekto yung timelines. Susundan ho namin yung suggestion din ni Senator Recto na kung saan isusuma total namin kung ilan at magkano yung lahat na gastusin doon sa period ng emergency power.
Total ho, masyado pa nung maaga, no? Wala pa ho kayong 45 days. We do understand that hindi pa ho kayo handa. But probably in the succeeding meetings regarding this measure, if we can just give us, you know, yung at least an idea. Halimbawa, North Rail, halimbawa, Manila to La Union, South Rail, Manila to Matnog, Sorsogon. Ano po, kailan nyo balak simulan, kung magkano, para na meron ho rin kaming idea habang binabalangkas namin o sinusulat ho namin itong panukala. No? And also, tanong ko lang doon, kasi as I remember, no, it's good that Yusek Noel Quintanar is here, medyo yung mga technical, masasagot niya. Kasi nung nakaraang administration, no, hindi naman sila nag-aandayo, their suggestion was, ang tinanong ko kasi kung ano ang gagamitin sa railway, whether it's narrow gauge or standard gauge. Ang sabi po nila at that time, their suggestion was narrow. Sabi ko, mukhang malabo yata.
Nag-meeting ho kami sa ICC. Itong ICC komite ho ito ng NEDA. Nag-suggestion po ako ng isang panukala na ang gagamitin ho, standard, hindi ho narrow. Kasi yung narrow, ginagamit yung sa mga
tsaka alam ko, Secretary, mukhang India tsaka sa Africa na lang ho yan ginagamit. Yes, I think with going back to what the Yusek Noel Quintanar was saying, we will have a problem again with the OEM parts.
That's correct.
Kasi very obsolete na, so kakaunti na lang ang ginagawa. Kinakailangan natin what we would want next in our new railway system are parts that will be available. So dapat ang kunin ho natin mga tren ay yung mga common. So marami ho tayong, we will be assured of the parts.
Tama.
So that's good that it will be using standard.
Nag-meeting ho kami kasama si Secretary Pernia. Nagpakasunduan namin na ang panukala is magiging standard, hindi ho narrow.
And also yung narrow gauge hanggang 100 kilometers lang, ano? 120?
120 ho.
So ang standard will up to kahit 200 kilometers.
Tama ho kayo dyan, sir.
So nangangahulugan na kahit na kayo po'y nakatira sa Pangasinan, Tarlac, pwede ko kayo magtrabaho sa Maynila at pwedeng umuwi sa hapon kung ganyan po ang gagamitin na standard gauge.
Tama ho yan, sir.
Hanggang Lucena, hanggang Laguna at Rizal, kayang-kaya ho, no? na makauwi. So in other words, Madam Chair, we will be able to lower the cost of standard of living. Kasi hindi na kinakailangan lahat mag-concentrate sa Maynila eh. Yung sa Mindanao Rail ho ba, Secretary Duterte, kasama na rin ho ba sa priorities? Kasama na po yan?
Nabanggit ho ng Presidente na kasama sa priority yan. Ini-establish na ho yung groundworks para maging realidad yung Mindanao Rails.
Thank you po. I will just ask the other questions regarding the railway next time, no? As I would want to ask for the more information next time.
Yes, sir.
So sa kaap na lang, Madam Chair, because I filed just a few points because I filed a separate resolution looking into the air traffic congestion because I think this has been a problem ongoing for the past 3 years already. Ang gusto ko lang kung tanong, pwede si Director General Tony Buendia can answer or Yusek Babilim. As mentioned earlier, nabanggit niyo po kanina ni Yusek Bobby, na yung ILS sa NAIA ay hindi po gumagana o yung isa lang ang gumagana. Di ba dalawa ko ang runway natin, no? Yung 13 and 24. So ano po?
So, Senator, can I answer the question po?
Please, go ahead.
Madam Chairman. Confirm po, yung isa, approaching using runway 24. Kasi po ang MIA ho ang bumibili nun and upkeep po ang CAP. I got from my people that when I took over, I asked them point blank, is the ILS working? Ang sabi po na sa akin, isa ang gumagana, hinahantay pa po yung piyasa.
So, ibig ko sabihin na GM, yung ang gumagana lang kapag yung papunta rito, yung runway
06 po.
So, sa pag 24,
walang ILS. Pero meron pa po tayong ibang kagamitan. This should not alarm our traveling public. Meron pa po tayong ibang option na ginagamit sa air navigational for the aerodrome. We have po the DME, VOR, meron po tayong the visual flight rules, meron po tayong ibang radar na pangdagdag lang po yon para ang visibility po when they coming in and approach mas maiksi po para maiwasan po natin yung mga nag-miss approach po.
Ilan ho ba yung yung pinaka-limit doon sa visual bago is it 300 meters, 400 meters?
Yung sa ILS po, mababato tayo sa 300 meters. Pero po pag visual, mabot po yan ng at least 5 kilometers or even slightly lower.
Meron hong nagsabi sa akin na piloto na kilala ko rin na meron daw hong building sa may C5 bandang 4 yata na ang tawag ay Cypress Building na nagiging sanhi rin ng delay kasi dati kung 300 meters yung yung kanilang limit, ngayon po ay naging 900 meters daw ho. Totoo ba yun? Na dahil kumbaga nandun siya sa nasa flight path siya
Yung aspeto po yan pwede ko pabigay sa kaap kasi sila po ang regulatory.
Director General Buendia, please. Kasi this causes delays. Kapag nag-miss approach, babalik, iikot na naman aeroplano. So, this might be one of the causes, no? Itong bakit nagkaroon ng building, di sa susunod, tatanong ko na rin yan.
Magandang tanghali po, Senator. Yung tungkol dun sa sinasabi niyong building, dun sa approach area ng runway 24, we will look into this. Pero ngayon lang po namin narinig yan dahil wala naman po kami tatanggap na reklamo from the airlines or reklamo from the pilots. So, we will try to identify kung nasaan po talaga yung obstruction na building na sinasabi along C5. Alamin po namin lahat yan. Baka po sa susunod na meeting, masasagot na po namin yung concerns ninyo.
Last point, Madam Chair. Sa ngayon po, yung peak hours ng ating pong airport, no, NAIA, is 7 a.m. up to around 6 p.m. Tama ho ba? Ang nangyayari ho kasi, sabay-sabay pumapasok, sabay-sabay ding lumalabas, pumapasok dahil sa sunset limitation, dahil ang ating pong iwang airports, gaya nung nabanggit sa presentation, ay hindi ILS capable o wala night landing capability. So, ang tanong ko lang ho, Madam Chair, ilan na ho ngayon ang nabanggit nyo na 11 na ho ang international airports natin, doon naman sa secondary, yung mga capable sa ang tawag yun, sa mga capable tumanggap ng Airbus A320, ilan na ho ang at present capable ng night landing o ILS?
Senator, lahat ng mga international airports, that's 11, are night rated. Then you have 5 more domestic airports, Dumaguete, Tacloban, Batuan, Legazpi, Bacolod. Then ongoing for night landing operation, yung projects would be Dipolog, Osamis, Tuguegarao, Rojas, Cotabato. For future night rating is Naga and Pagadian. Then there are others under study because kailangan ng civil works or, you know, just under evaluation pa yung mga iba.
Ang tanong ko lang, Yusik Bobby, kung ganun marami na palang night capable, bakit pag nagko-concentrate o nagkakaipon pa rin ang mga aeroplano within that time frame, yung 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Kung marami palang capable, halimbawa yung Butuan, no, si Member, as you mentioned, lumipad po ako dyan, umaga po ang mga flights sila, pero I understand their night ILS na, meron na siyang runway lights eh.
Yes,
even Lagindingan, no?
Yes, sir.
Airport. So ano po, bakit hindi mo ba-schedule? Scheduling or slotting ba tawag nyo? Ba't hindi maiayos ng para ma-spread out?
Sir, it's a, I believe, sir, it's a, I don't know the exact reasons because there could be a combination of reasons, no, sir. First is, one, it could be the airlines choosing and scheduling to fly in the evening for these destinations. Kung minsan ho, ang nangyayari, it's a question of personnel also being assigned in the evening to man these stations. It's a management issue, no? Ayan, mga pangyayari.
Sir, kung maalala nyo kanina, doon sa CAAP issue, as a CAB issue, merong rekomendasyon na bibigyan ng otoridad yung CAB na mag-transfer ng mga flights. Ay, dagdag ko na rin ho na meron na mga airlines na kung saan nag-agree na lumipad sa Clark on domestic. Isang ruta ho yun. Inaantay lang ho namin yung papel. Ano ang ibig kong sabihin? Tama ho kayo, bakit nagsisiksikan? Yung nagsiksikan is a confluence of reasons. It could be the marketing program of the airline. It could be the night-rated capacity. It could be the lack of people. It could be a lot of other reasons. Ito ho, sinisipat at tinitignan namin ngayon. Ang unang bunga ng aming pag-evaluate at pagsipat, pumayag na ho ang dalawang carrier o isang carrier? Tatlong carrier. Nagpina-finalize, lilipat ho yung mga domestic destination nila on a given Tacloban. Lahat ho ng Tacloban pupunta na sa Clark. So ito ho yung mga airports na ginagawa ngayon.
Last point, Madam Chair, pero do you agree that no? So ang NAIA talagang over-maximize na, over its capacity. Sa ngayon. Ang tanong ko na bakit kaya sino bang nagbibigay ng rota? May mga bagong eroplano pang dumarating ang mga airlines. So that means there are new routes that would be additional. So hindi naman sa inyo na ito eh. Nadatnan nyo na to. So ang CAB ho ba ang nag-approve ng rota o ang CAAP?
So ang CAB.
Sa CAB.
So ang nangyayari ho dyan is pag nagkakaroon ng mga negotiation between countries, ang policy ho ngayon is to tell them na kung gusto nyo lumipat sa Pilipinas, lipat muna kayo sa Clark o lipat kayo sa Cebu o sa Davao, no? Kasi medyo puno na yung
So, last point po, knowing that we are over capacity, bakit ang CAB still granted so many routes, kahit yung mga local routes eh. Diba, sa China lang, ilan yung Cebu Pacific halimbawa, may 4 na flight sila doon, diba? Sa ibang areas, ganun din. So, ano ba policy ng CAB? Kasi over capacity ng NAIA, then we would need it also sa emergency powers. Kung kinakailangan, yung mga rota ay ayusin din. No? That's why we are asking. Ano po policy nyo? Kahit...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With the permission of our good secretary, although we have an open regime, we have an open market that allows the entry and exit of airlines in particular routes. When we approve, pag nag-approve po tayo ng isang ruta, yan po ay kinakailangan may clearance muna ng CAAP at MIA para malaman kung meron pong terminal capacity at meron ding runway capacity. Hindi po maililipad ng isang airline ang isang ruta kung wala pong terminal at saka runway capacity.
So that's all, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Senator Nancy Binay has just two quick requests. One, and then it's Senator Soto next. She's yielding her.
I'm yielding my
to
two
Senator
questions
Soto,
to
that's right.
Senator Soto. Just more of a manifestation. Siguro, Secretary, aside from Metro Manila, may ibang lugar pa naman ho na nakakadanas ng problema sa traffic. I guess, ano ho yung iba pang urban cities?
Matinding nadadanas ngayon Cebu. At nag-uumpisa na hong maranasan ng Davao. Kaya nga, sinasabi ko kanina ho, yung 30 years roadmap, kasi kung hindi ho tayo magpe-pay attention dyan, yung nangyayari sa EDSA will just be replicated everywhere and anywhere.
Siguro in connection with your answer, Mr. Chair, can I request siguro sa susunod na hearing, baka we can invite somebody from Cebu. Hindi ko alam kung may counterpart ang MMDA sa Cebu eh. May ganun ba?
Yung MMDA, Metro Manila, no? Baka may kapareho kayo doon, hindi ko alam. Pero yung Cebu Airport Authority, kukumbidahin ko sila.
And baka pati din ho dun sa land, baka they can make a presentation and possible solutions because part of the emergency power, di ba yung emergency power would also cover the whole country and not just Metro Manila. So,
yung nasa batas ngayon, originally, Metro Manila. Pero meron ho mga ibang proponent na sinasabi na isama na rin yung Metro Cebu at Metro Davao.
Yes, po. Kaya sa next hearing, baka we can already include it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Next, the Chair would like to recognize Senator Soto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to Senator Nancy for giving me her slot. And I wish to thank Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Villanueva, and Senator Subiri, and Senator Gordon for not complaining. Yeah, thank you. More of a manifestation, but I'll have probably one or two quick questions. I'll be very brief. I concur with the policies that you're put forward. No, all right. I'd like to congratulate you for that. It's very extensive. Now, there's one policy that I think you should put into the end of your chain, and this is a concern of mine because I am the only driver here in the Senate. I do not use a driver. I drive myself to work every day. And so I'm very familiar, since I was young, up to now, I'm very familiar with the city streets of Metro Manila and Metro Manila itself. As a matter of fact, I can drive myself usually from Lawag to Sorsogon. And I do that every now and then. Now, a concern that I would like to bring up is one of the policies that you would like to put forward, and this is the issue of the right-of-way. Mas gusto ko siguro, pag-aralan nyo munang mabuti, yung pagbukas ng mga city streets. I do not use EDSA anymore in the last 2 or 3 months. You're familiar with the application called Woes, you know?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure. Okay. Waze will not tell you to pass EDSA. He give you city streets. It's good. Kaya lang, hindi alam ni Waze na ginawang parking lot ng mga kababayan natin. So wala nga dumadaan. Kaya walang dumadaan kasi puro parking, left and right. Halos hindi ka makadaan. There are subdivisions in the Philippines or in Metro Manila na kahit buksan mo, you will just be creating more traffic because sa loob ng subdivision, traffic na rin because of parking. Nakaparada rin sa mga kalsada. So I suggest that you concentrate more on getting rid of illegally parked vehicles in the city streets than considering the issue of opening the right-of-way of subdivisions. Ito, private ito eh. These are private subdivisions. We are going to try to get a right-of-way. Itong mga kalsada ngayon sa Metro Manila, that's our right-of-way. May right-of-way tayo doon. Pero hindi natin magamit dahil ng daming illegally parked. And that is why, if you will look at Singapore and New York, especially Singapore, walang traffic. Ang dami sasakyan. Ikot-ikot, circular lahat. Pero ba't walang traffic? Walang parking. There is no parking in the entire Singapore. You can only park in parking slots. Hindi pwede sa kalsada. Try driving through Manila, Pasay, Manila, or Caloocan, Makati, and which I do almost every day. Pag natanggal lahat yung mga illegally parked vehicles, hindi mo kailangan dumaan ng EDSA. Napakaluwag ng Metro Manila, I assure you. If I pass through EDSA from Pasay to Quezon City, it takes me about almost 2 hours from the Senate to White Plains.
For this purpose, the President may abolish, create, and reorganize offices concerned. We may not realize it, but just to focus, for example, on EDSA. If you look at it, there are no less than 6 local government units along EDSA. You start with Caloocan, Quezon City, San Juan, Mandaluyong, Makati, Pasay City. So by any language, it is extremely difficult to manage the traffic flow in EDSA. And then you have the local government code, which gives each local government unit authority and power over traffic. And therefore, and you have a Metro and Metro Manila Commission composed of 17 mayors, each having his or her own turf. My good friend here, J.V. Ejercito, is laughing because he was part of that for a while. So, how can you have, sintunado po tayo rito, 17 ang nasa orchestra, iba-iba ang tinutugtog, at kawawa naman yung MMDA, and we all blame the MMDA chair for this. Also, in DOTC, you have the LFDRB, ganun ba yun? Who would grant franchises without consulting MMDA. And yet, that's why you see buses running around with probably less than 10 passengers on EDSA. So all of this, in our proposed measure, we identify a single authority. And we identify a single authority being the MMDA. And at least for the period of emergency, the MMDA should be the sole authority insofar as the Metro Manila traffic is concerned, and particularly focusing on EDSA. It is no exaggeration when I say that everybody, every single person in this room and in our country is waiting for the government to do something about this traffic mess. So we are thankful that our colleague Senator Grace Mo has initiated this hearing very early, and we do hope to get some input, valuable input from our resource persons in order that we can present this on the floor of the Senate and see what we can do in order to address this transportation mess that we're in. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Drilon. Let us begin now with the presentation of the Department of Transportation by Secretary Tugade. Sir.
Senator, Madam Chair, magandang umaga sa lahat ng miyembro ng Committee on Public Service. Sa totoo lang ho, ayan yung sabihin ko muna ang personal na pakiramdam ko ngayon. Sa totoo lang ho, not in my dreams, not in my wish, neither my ambition, that I will enter the halls of Senate. And neither in my wish or in my dream
that I'll be in front of senators who, in my private interactions with them, professional and official, I have respected and learned to idolize. Having said this, ma'am, since I really would like to enjoy the feeling of being and stepping inside the Senate halls, if the chair would allow me, I would like to be able to stand up, go back there in front, so that it affords me the ease and the flexibility in saying what I would like to say, and hopefully to be able to address the needs and the expectations of the Committee on Public Service.
Absolutely, sir. By all means, whatever
Kung
will
wala
be
hong
easier for
mikropono,
you
lalakasan
also.
ko na lang ang boses ko. Natukoy at nabanggit ho yung mga kadahilanan kung bakit dapat tayo magkaroon ng special power. Napakinggan ko at ninamnam ko yung sinabi ng ating chairman na kung saan linahad niya ang kanyang ekspektasyon, ang kanyang guidelines. Napakinggan ko yung sinabi ni Senator Ejercito at sinabi ni Senator Drilon na kung saan binigay nila ng kadahilanan kung bakit dapat magkaroon ng special power. 3 puntos ho ang sinabi ng ating chairman na dapat bigyan tibay at kilalanin upang ang pag-uusap sa special power ay bigyan katugunan. Sabi po ng ating chairman, dapat ho maging FOI compliant. Madam, I give you my word during my watch and I sit here and I discharge my duties as secretary. Whatever we do, not only in relation to the special power or emergency power, we shall be FOI compliant. Number 2 ho, sinabi ninyo na kailangan accountable at transparent. And we should not give the elbow room to the crooks and the thieves to sneak in the middle of the night and try to take advantage of the so-called special power. Madam, I stand on the spirit of accountability
for other so-called crises or emergencies. We must therefore post important questions on the extent of those powers. For instance, we must have clear-cut parameters as what constitutes an emergency. Second, we must be clear on what those emergency powers will be used for and whether they can effectively address the problems. It is important for us to define and quantify the objectives of the bills. Let me share with you the principles I will apply in evaluating your requests for emergency powers. First, it must be FOI compliant. This is a one non-negotiable principle, constant in its implementation. It must permeate and penetrate all activities, contracts, projects, biddings, documents, awards, payments made pursuant to the act of granting emergency powers. Letting the sunlight in construction results in better built infrastructure. Second, it must be fiscally responsible. The power to expedite projects is not a license to contract an expensive one. We may allow you to take shortcuts for as long as they do not shortchange the taxpayers. There must be no hidden costs or undeclared conditional debts that will be passed on to several generations. Third, it must have details and deadlines. We will not go for vague powers or blank checks. Hindi pwede ang bahala na kami. Everything must be well-defined. The parameters must be set. I assure you, there will be elbow room and wide latitude given, but not wide enough for thieves to sneak in. We will also insist on deadlines. It is not enough that you will tell us that you will build a tunnel. We will require you to tell us the exact date we will see the light at the end of it. I think the most important is that we will only give you a set of powers on the condition that you will first give us the bill of particulars. The powers must be in pursuit of clearly identified results. What are the exact deliverables, the cost of each, and when will it be finished? Specifically, the location of projects, the price tag of each, and the deadline of completion. We will also be inquiring on projects that may need no powers of the emergency kind to implement. Kapag may obstruction sa kalsada, hindi emergency powers ang kailangan, pero tow truck. Kapag may nakabarang illegal na terminal sa kanto, hindi emergency powers ang kailangan, kundi pulis. Kapag ang isang lugar ay madaling bahain na nagbubuhol tuloy ang traffic, umaambon lang, hindi emergency powers ang kailangan. Ang kailangan ay mga taong maglilinis ng kanal at estero. So what we will request you is to tell us the things you plan to do and tell us which of them would require emergency powers. You and I agree that not all challenges entail the bestowal of special powers to solve them. Today, we have asked the Secretary of the Department of Transportation to give us an overview of the state of our land and the transport system. We have asked the pertinent agencies under the department to make a brief presentation, limiting it to their top 3 concerns and top 3 projects or plans of actions. We have asked the chair of the MMDA to do the same. This will give the members of our committees an idea of the lay of the land, so to speak. Initially, this meeting was supposed to be an organizational meeting and briefing for the Committee on Services, Public Services. However, we realized that the members of the other committees that we must tackle the proposal to grant emergency powers to the President to solve the transportation crisis. It would also benefit from this briefing. We all need to fully understand the problems before tackling the details of the proposed solutions. If the problems can be clearly and specifically identified, then hopefully the powers to be granted shall likewise be specific, clear, and time-bound. Before we begin with the presentations, and I would like to acknowledge the presence of our resource persons, and then also Senator JV, our Vice Chair, will also give a brief opening statement. Let me acknowledge our guests. First of all, Secretary Arthur Tugade, the Department of Transportation. Thank you, sir, for your presence. Yusek Romel Gavieta. Thank you. Yusek Gary de Guzman. Yusek Felipe Hudan. Yusek Raul Criencha, Yusek Noel Quintanar, Yusek Ann Lontok, Yusek Bobby Lim, Asek Lea Kiambao, Asek Cherry Santos, Chairman Martin Delgra III, Asek Edgar Galvante, General Manager Ed Monreal, DG Tony Buendia Jr., Attorney Miguel Ora, Mr. Julius Corpus, Mr. Elmer Benitez, Mr. Joe Geronimo, ASEC Gerald Reyes, Attorney Emerson Carlos, Director Maria Josefina Faulan, Director Noemi Recio, Director Geoffrey Aguilan, and I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Drilon, Senator Aquino, and I think I acknowledged Senator De Lima earlier.
Stability and transparency. It shall be so done. Number 3, you said, Madam, that we shall be time-bound. Timelines must be set. We will give you the timelines. We will give you the deadlines that will guide us in our pursuit of what we think is necessary for this country. And over and above that, as you have expected, we shall be open and transparent when it comes to cost. Having said that, the discussions today was predicated on a letter sent by the Honorable Chairman, whereby the Chairman has expressed 2 purposes wherein we are invited today. First reason is for me to give an overview of the transport and traffic industry. And number 2, requesting that all the attached agencies with regulatory function in the Department of Transportation be given 5 minutes to present 3 challenges and 3 priorities that is presently confronting each and every attached agencies, challenges and expectations that will confront in its totality the entire Department of Transportation. We will exactly do that, Madam. And to start with it, let me present to you an overview. Kumbaga sa sine, this will give you a sneak thriller kung bakit kinakailangan at nangangailangan tayo ng special power. We will be as generic as possible because the letter indicated that our presentation today must be time-bound. And so I will be as generic as possible, observing the request for time-boundedness. Madam Chair, if you will allow me to present the overview of the traffic and transport industry. I think it is primordial and to the best interest of all to remember and focus to the organization at the very outset, because it is this organization that will address the requirements and needs and the rigors of special power. When I assumed office some 32 days ago, ang Department of Transportation ho sa itaas ay yung tinatawag ko kumbaga sa kanta Jambalaya. Ibig sabihin, ang accountability hindi malinaw, ang responsibility hindi nakalatag ng malinaw. Ibig sabihin, pag nakaroon ng problema sa transportasyon, pag nakaroon ng problema sa maritime, pag nakaroon ng problema sa riles, pag nakaroon ng problema sa kalsada, hindi agarang maituturo kung sino yung pamunuan na dapat kausapin, humingi ng paliwanagan o paluin. And so having said this, what I did, ma'am, is to make the organization sectoral at the Department of Transportation. Hindi ho bago ito. Kinopya ko lang yung organisasyon na kung saan nandoon ho yung isang kalihim na nagngangalan Ping de Jesus. Structural ho ang ginawa niya at sinundan ko. Doon sa Department of Tourism, I made it sectoral. May aviation. An undersecretary that is in charge of aviation, airports, and air operation. Kasama na ho at kalakip dito, yung tinatawag na attached agencies, yung CAAP, yung CAB, yung Manila International Airport Authority. Doon ho, pag nagka-aberya sa operasyon ng airport, operasyon doon sa air transportation, hindi na kayo magtatanong sino ang hahanapin. Hanapin niyo ho yung undersecretary na kung saan ang in charge ay si Bobby Lim. Si Bobby Lim, hayaan nyo yung sabihin ko ngayon, hindi ho siya bagito sa industriya ng airlines at airports. Siya ho ay ang pamunuan ng IATA noon. Galing sa private sector, sasabihin na natin for loose words, ma'am, nagpaaliw at nagpabola sa akin at nakuha ko. So, siya nangunguna ngayon dyan. Meron ho tayong tinatawag na land sector. Ang namumuno sa land sector ay isang undersecretary na kung saan siya ho, nung sa 6 na taon ay tinawag na nakapriser. For what reason or another, I do not know, I did not bother to find out. But I did realize that when she was being frozen for a period of 6 years, she was studying in Harvard, she was studying at University of the Philippines, learning traffic management and urban transition and public administration. Nung nalaman ko ho at nakita, inaya ko siya. Meron kang kaalaman, pumunta ka sa akin, tulungan mo ako sa land. Anyway, nandito nga ka nga naman for the last 6 years. Oo nga't nandoon ka sa classroom, ngayon yung napag-aralan mo sa classroom, i-apply mo dito. Meron ho tayong organisasyon na tinatawag Rail and Railroad. Kasama na ho dito yung TRB, yung tolls. Kinuha ko yung isang nagtatrabaho noon sa tinatawag na Ayala Group of Companies. Ang issue ho dito, bakit ako kumuha sa Ayala Group of Companies? Pwede naman din akong kumuha sa Pangilinan, sa, ang importante ho dito,
and interest. I personally believe that our long-term transportation plan should be anchored on a vision of an inclusive, resilient, and sustainable urban settlements. The time is now to develop an integrated multimodal transport system, pursue innovative and data-driven transport solutions, and improve transportation governance. Thus, among the bills and resolutions that have been referred to the committee so far, we have chosen to prioritize consideration of those measures that propose to give emergency powers to the President to address the transportation and traffic crisis. The bills and resolutions on granting emergency powers to the President have been primarily referred to the Committee on Public Services and secondarily referred to the Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes and the Committee on Finance. These bills include the following: Senate Bill number 11, introduced by Senator Drilon; Senate Bill number 154, introduced by Senator Ejercito; Senate Bill number 999, introduced by Senator Alan Cayetano; Senate Bill number 33, introduced by Senator Ralph Recto; proposed Senate Resolution number 59, introduced by Senator Recto. I'm sorry, let me go back. Proposed Senate Resolution number 33 by Senator Ralph Recto also. Proposed Senate Resolution number 63 by Senator J.V. Ejercito. We shall now commence our joint public hearing. Muli, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Naririto kayong lahat at maraming salamat sa inyong oras. In fact, the people in this room can be divided into two groups, those who came in early and those who were in traffic. But I must thank the ones, our resource persons who are here early and complete, and also our senators who made an effort to be here on time. If the latter is slowly becoming the acceptable national excuse, ang pambansang dahilan for tardiness, it is because in many cases, there is basis in invoking it. We don't need statistics to prove how traffic has gone from bad to worse in Mega Manila and other parts of the country. Cars move in glacial pace. If you're lucky to hit 30 kilometers per hour in EDSA, then you are lucky. The only hope for a fast mode of travel in the metropolis, the trains, have been derailed by old equipment or the lack of it, poor maintenance, and the culprit that slows train service, bureaucratic inertia. People, including children, who should still be asleep, now wake up before dawn to catch an MRT train that can still accommodate passengers, only to realize that the time to queue for a ticket is now longer than the train ride itself. And they who rise before sunrise have to go through a harrowing commute just so they can be home by midnight. Nakikipagsiksikan sa bus, hinahabol ang taxi, kakandong sa UV, bibitin sa estribo ng jeep, kokontrata ng pedicab, o manghuhuli ng Grab or Uber na tila mailap pa sa Pokemon nila. The sad reality is that for many, the time spent for the rest is less than the time spent on the road. They also say that it is now faster to fly across the ocean than to drive across town. But not anymore, because there's also congestion in the air. Pati sa ere may traffic din. As anyone who had recently taken a flight out of NAIA would tell you, the time spent by a plane queuing for takeoff is sometimes longer than the actual flight itself. Simply put, our mandate is to create a system which transports our people and their products, the nation's commuters as well as its commerce, in a manner that is safe, reliable, accessible, and affordable. As you know, the services enumerated in our committee's mandate happens to be this government's priority, and the pressure for them to deliver is great. But the burden is not theirs alone, but ours too, because we serve the people who gifted us with the same mandate to serve. Thus, let me assure our friends in the executive that we will not be competing with you in finding problems. We will be cooperating with you in finding solutions. The President has supplied the framework on how to fix the traffic mess, which in capsule form is that extraordinary problems require extraordinary powers to solve. The rule on such requests for great powers has always been the President proposes, Congress disposes. We will soon wade into the details of the bills and carefully study its provisions with no other motive but to improve it. We must be open to innovative solutions and be ready to think out of the box. But though we are open to innovation, we must also be responsible with our actions. Giving the President emergency powers necessarily raises concerns about concentration of powers in one person, as this could easily be abused. There are fears that if we grant emergency powers for this issue, then we open the floodgates to granting emergency powers. So now, may we hear first Senator JV to give his brief opening statement.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank the Chair for acting swiftly on this very urgent measure. No? This is supposed to be an organizational meeting, but because of the urgency of the measure seeking to grant emergency powers to the President, filed by Senate President Pro Tempore Franklin Drilon, Senator Ralph Recto, and yours truly, our Chair already acted on it swiftly. So I'd like to thank our Chairperson, Senator Grispo, for having this hearing right away. Our traffic crisis is no laughing matter. Traffic congestion is not just happening during rush hours, but all throughout the day. It is an economic hemorrhage that needs serious attention and in dire need of immediate treatment. Our economy bleeds. More than 2 billion a day and could swell up to 6 billion in 2030 if we will not find an effective cure for this malady. Kailangan natin ng mabilis at epektibong solusyon para maampatan ang pagdarugo ng ating ekonomiya at pahirap sa ating mamamayan na dulot ng matinding traffic. Apart from the economic hemorrhage, the traffic crisis also has a heavy social cost as the long commutes disrupt family life and social ties. The time we spend on roads is time lost with our families. The proposed special powers for the President is the first step in solving our traffic situation that is cancer approaching its terminal stage. To address this transport crisis, as principal author, my proposal is to give the President special powers for a period of 2 years to reform our transportation system. To execute the said reform, our President will have the option to use any of the alternative modes of procurement under our procurement rules. But, as what our Chairperson has indicated, the FOI, or the transparency because of or the freedom of information, which was also stressed by the President through his executive order, is non-negotiable. Further, he will be empowered to acquire real property needed as right-of-way site or location for any government transportation infrastructure. I also propose that any programs implemented using the special power will be exempted from any court injunction, but as a safeguard to the given special power, in a form of check and balance, the Supreme Court will be allowed to use an injunction. I hope my colleagues in this chamber, and likewise I'd like to thank this early all the resource persons who are here to, this morning, and I hope that my colleagues in the chamber will support my proposal so they can finally put an end to the transportation crisis. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator JV. I'd like to make a special acknowledgement actually for Senator Drilon for being here as the Chair of the Committee on Constitutional Amendments. He will also give a brief opening statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And allow me to welcome our resource persons led by Secretary Duterte. You know, Madam Chair, in 2014, on my way to a relative's wedding in Baguio, I had to endure 11.5 hours of traffic in the North Luzon tollway. It was a crisis not only because of the length of time I had to stay on the road, but also because I had a 9-kilometer toilet line, which everybody was using. Sadly, this is not just my story. This is the story of everyone today. The horrors of this traffic crisis spare no one. Nobody is immune from its choking grip. It steals from every Filipino time, regardless of position or state of life. It is time to turn this crisis around. I therefore filed Senate Bill number 11, the first bill filed on this transport emergency, and we filed Senate Bill 11, or the Transport Crisis Act, to give the President the necessary and proper powers to immediately address this national emergency. Under my proposed Transportation Crisis Act, the President is authorized to adopt alternative methods of procurement for the construction, repair, rehabilitation, improvement, and maintenance of the transportation projects. In all instances, however, the President must ensure that the most advantageous price for the government is obtained and that the procedure is undertaken in a transparent manner. The bill likewise prohibits the issuance of the temporary restraining orders and preliminary mandatory injunctions to fast-track the transportation infrastructure development. To address the traffic management woes brought about by overlapping functions of government institutions, the proposed measure designates the Metro Manila Development Authority as the sole urban traffic management authority in Metro Manila and the Department of Transportation in other urban areas.